I was just touching base to see when you think you might be coming back. You know, I'm just worried that you're not going to find your stride here if you keep going off-world all the time, Kara. I'm worried you're not going to find your people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Clark. I have no people. Home is wherever you are, buddy.
As I walk this land of road,
Crypto and I at least had each other.
I have visions of
Honestly, I thought we were lucky. But luck, almost by definition, runs out.
now what becomes of the broken hearted who had known now be parted. It's time for the Trucker John live stream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The Trucker John live stream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John live stream. Gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the Trucker John live stream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John live stream is the best thing you've ever seen.
Good evening. Good evening. Let's see here. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Good evening. I guess you can hear me all right. Good evening. Let's see here. In my dark room. It looks dark in here, doesn't it? Well, I got Josh Sees. At least Josh Sees is here. Thanks for coming on in, Josh. I just threw it together this real quick. I don't know if you saw the intro. I played a little bit of the trailer for the new movie Supergirl. The new Supergirl movie. I cut that down a lot. I don't know who's in charge of making these trailers. But they need to be supervised a little better because the trailer is almost like the whole movie. I mean, it's ridiculous. If you watch the trailer, I mean, I almost like, why bother watching the movie? I mean, it's almost everything is in that fucking trailer. So anyhow, I just cut it down to like a little over a minute, you know, because I think it's ridiculous when they give away so much in the trailer. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I just went and saw Supergirl tonight. I went down to the Century Theater. It's owned by Cinemark. It's right down at Sam's Club or I mean Sam's Club, Sam's Town. They have a theater down there. Good deal. Only $6 for seniors, and I'm a senior now. I'm no longer a sophomore or a junior. I'm a senior, but I think the regular price is only like $7.50. So it's a cheap theater, but it's a nice theater. And I was going to go to work today, and I just didn't feel like it. And then here's what motivated me to go to the movies to go see Supergirl. It's because I have not seen so much hate for a movie. I don't know. Every single, like, these so-called professional movie critics, every single one of them that I've seen, at least on YouTube, have panned this movie. And all these creators, YouTube creators that do movie reviews, I really haven't seen anyone give this movie any love at all. Hey, Gulf Marine, good to see you. Thanks for being here. We got Josh and Gulf Marine. Justice AZ is here. Hello, Justice. Good to see you. Justice A through Z. Love saves lives. There's Jolie. Hey, Jolie. Thanks for popping in. I don't know if you were able to watch the little bit of a trailer of the movie trailer. I put that in the intro. If you saw it or not. But anyhow, I was just saying how I felt motivated to go see the movie Supergirl because all I've seen is just review after review after review of just panning this movie and just such hate for this movie. And then with the trolls or whatever are just putting this girl down for her looks and comparing her to the little cave boy in Land of the Lost or whatever, I don't know, or in or the wild boy, the little wild boy in the Mad Max movie, like the old, I think the old one with Mel Gibson. I mean, yeah, Mel Gibson. Just putting her down and all these memes putting down her looks, and so I thought, you know what? I bet you. How much you want to bet with all this hate that's going on? It almost seems choreographed. I mean, I don't want to get conspiratorial here. It almost seems like a conspiracy. Like, for some reason, someone wants to hate this movie because everything I've seen about this movie, it's just hate, 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 hate. They hate the movie. They hate the writing. They hate the action. They hate the star. They say she's ugly. She looks like the cave boy. I mean, on and on and on and on and on. And then I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score. The critics gave it, I think 56% is where it's at. And so that's a Rotten Tomato. The fan scores, however, have it at 76%, which is considered, I guess, on the good side. So I said, you know what? How many times have I heard these so-called professional movie critics that make a living doing it? I'm not talking about your just average YouTube creator or whatever. I'm talking about these real live so-called journalists that have journalism degrees and shit like that, and they review these movies for a living. How many times have they been wrong? Where they just totally panned the movie, and I went and saw the movie, and I ended up liking the movie, and I'm like, well, did we even see the same movie? So I saw that score. I saw the Rotten Tomatoes scores, and I took that my life experience with these fucking movie reviewers, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go see the movie, and I go, you know what? And I bet you I'm going to like it. And you know what? I liked it. I liked it even better than the Superman movie that just came out. I guess, what was that, last year? I don't know if you guys remember. I did do maybe not like a review, but I talked about it on the on my morning live stream. I don't know if you guys remember, but I said I kind of don't like it. And then I think after a while, after a few days of thinking about it, I was like, maybe I was a little too harsh on the Superman movie. Maybe I'm like maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. But to tell the truth, I didn't like that movie. I couldn't relate or connect. It was just too. I just thought it was too silly. The Superman movie, but boy, did that get praise heaped upon it. Every motherfucking reviewer in the world just were fucking jerking off to it. I think to the Superman movie, males and females, they loved that fucking Superman movie like it was the fucking greatest thing ever made. And I didn't get it. I was like, I don't just because it had a message where it had these characters. One was supposed to be like Netanyahu and or whatever. So they loved that. I don't give a fuck about these metaphors and shit. It was the movie. I didn't like this movie. I thought it sucked. Supergirl, on the other hand, I sat there and I thoroughly fucking enjoyed it. There was a couple points where I laughed because there's a couple of funny things, and some of these reviewers they're fucking talking like they hate the dog. I don't hate the dog. I have no problem with the dog. I think the dog's cute. They said the action was lame. The action was just as good as any other superhero movie. I don't get it. So I went on Rotten Tomatoes. I made sure to go on Rotten Tomatoes as soon as I got home, and I gave it 5 fucking stars, motherfuckers. Fucking critics. I hate these fucking critics, man. Supergirl is a really good fucking movie. It's better than Superman. You can put that on a blurb. Trucker John says, Supergirl is a really good fucking movie. It's better than Superman. Is that how? I feel like I mixed up some words there. I don't know. I feel like I changed it. Anyhow, I'm having a Pepsi in celebration. Now, if we get to 5K, I'll be drinking something else. Anyhow, so Josh C says, I don't get excited about superhero movies. I figure it's like Florida Man defies physics. Yeah, there is that, and plus there's superhero burnout and all that kind of shit. But, and I think I might have been suffering with some of that. I think with the Superman movie, maybe I had some superhero movie burnout. But I don't know, man. I saw this one. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly freaking enjoyed it, man. I mean, I like this movie because they kept it real. I know it's superheroes and they're flying around and doing all that shit. But I think it had a little more realism. The Superman movie was just too far out. It was too way out. I know you're supposed to have, suspension of disbelief and all that kind of stuff. You have to have that in just almost any movie, no matter what the genre is. You have to have a certain amount of suspension of disbelief. But the Superman movie was just too far out, man. I just couldn't relate. I just didn't really like it. I don't know, man. I like the Supergirl movie. They kept it real. They kept it within bounds of my suspicion of disbelief, I guess. She's a little darker character, which is what she's supposed to be. If you watch the Supergirl TV shows on the WB, that was a complete. That was not Supergirl. That was, and I watched the show. I liked the show, but that was not Supergirl. That was not from the comic books. I don't know what that was. That was like a rom-com Supergirl or something. This Supergirl here, this is how Supergirl is supposed to be. She's supposed to be a little darker, a little angrier. She's not the goody two-shoes like Clark Kent is, who grew up in Kansas from a baby. She comes to Earth older, like a teenager, and she grew up on her planet. And she saw her I don't know if I'm doing spoilers here, but I think a lot of people know the kind of the backstory of Krypton and how it blew up, and that's why they sent Clark Kent out so he wouldn't blow up on the planet. And then they did the same thing with Supergirl, and due to I don't know, time worms or wormholes or whatever, she got there later. Well, yeah. So she's a little darker character. She's not so goody two shoes as Clark, and I like that. Let's see. I've been talking. Let's see. Who else is here? Josh says, "I'm sure it's a fun movie. I have no clue about reviews." Justice AZ says, I'm relatively new sub to your channel. Love your content. Thank you, Justice. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Golf Marine Chaka. Yeah, I guess there's the Chaka or whatever from that show, and then there's also that kind of wild boy from Mad Max. They compare her to that. There's some memes going around, just being really mean. She's a pretty girl. She's really great. She's a great actress. She knocked it out of the park as far as I'm concerned. I mean, she was really good, man. Golf Marine says she looks like Truth, Justice, and the American Way, defunct version. Jolie says if the critics hate a movie, I'm sure to love it. Yeah, that's the way. That's what I was thinking. So that's why I was like, I'm going to go see this movie tonight, while it's still new and it's still in all the theaters. I'm going to go see it tonight, and I'm going to go to Rotten Tomatoes and give it my review on Rotten Tomatoes. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and then I just wrote you give like a little review. All I basically said is I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It has great action, great writing, great acting. It has everything that a superhero movie should have. And I wrote, it was better than Superman. Way better. And that was my review. And I gave it 5 stars. Black Cat Red says, no, you didn't. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, no, I don't know what that's about. But thank Black Cat for being here. Justice AZ says, a bunch of YouTube channels that I watch routinely have been switched to Russian in the past couple of days. Weird as fuck. Yeah, that is pretty weird. YouTube channels have been switched to Russian? Like Russian language people? Black Cat says Superman 25 was awful. I don't know which one that was. Black Cat Red says the dog is cute, but also shit. I have no problem with the dog. Crypto, or whatever his name is. Josh says, is there a Russian TJ? That'd be hilarious. Ooh. You must die. I'm trying to think of a Russian accent, so I came up with Drago from Rocky movies. I must destroy you. I must destroy you. Is that how they talk? Is that how them Russians talk? Justice AZ says that, like I've had it, Mary Trump media, Occupy Democrats, Katie Fang, Chris Norland, etc. Really weird. So you're saying those have become Russian? I don't really watch. I see Katie Fang on Substack a lot. And plus on YouTube, she'll pop up on YouTube. I don't. So I'll watch a few clips. I haven't noticed that they've turned Russian. Black Cat Red. It's better than Superman. So 2 out of 10. I gave it a 5 out of 5, my friend. I gave it 5 out of 5. Golf Marine says, I'm going to Rotten now to drop a 5-star bomb. Thank you, Golf Marine. And that's without you even seeing it, I guess. I have you seen it? Did you see it? You're just gonna take my word for it. It's a 5-star. And it's rating 20 points higher from the fans, the fan score, as opposed to the professional critics. They're giving it like 56. I think the fans give it 76, which isn't the greatest, but still, that's not bad, EDM331 is here. Hey, EDM, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. EDM331 says, rumor is they tweaked the comic story to make the dog poison stunt as the main reason to turn the audience to Supergirl. It didn't work for me. Now, let's try to not have too many spoilers in here. You know, I as I was watching it, I thought that would be a criticism. That people would say, "Oh, she cares more about the dog than she does people," type of a thing. And there are flashbacks. This is kind of minor. Maybe I don't know if I should if I should spoil this. It's kind of, okay. Spoiler alert! If anyone wants to turn the volume down for a couple minutes, okay. Here's a spoiler alert. In the flashback, she's on Krypton, and that's where she finds this stray dog, and it's Crypto or whatever his name is. And so that's her last. The only thing she has that connects her to her home planet that got destroyed, and all of her people with it. The only two that are left are her and Clark, or whatever, Carell or whatever his name is. So all she has is the dog and a watch, like a watch that her dad gave her, like a pocket watch. That's the only two things that she has that from her home planet. And so I could see how she really would love that dog. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? Gregory guy's here. That sounds awesome. I like my heroes with a little bit of trauma. It makes them relatable. Well, she's got trauma. I mean, if you're familiar with the Superman story, I don't think you can turn your volume up now, people. This is the sign for turning your volume up if you turned it down. The whole reason why Superman and Supergirl, came to Earth is because their planet was being destroyed, Black Cat says, what did you relate to this film? Well, I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe, maybe relate. I'm not sure. Yeah, I know. How would you relate? Like, I'm not a superhero. My home planet didn't blow up or anything like that. So I don't know. I just found it, maybe it's not relatable, but I just found that I don't know. I guess I just like the characters better and I'm comparing this a lot to Superman that just came out, the latest Superman, where I never really felt any connection or to those characters. Like I didn't really care about those characters, but I don't know. For here, I did care about these characters, or I found them interesting. Even the villains I found interesting, and I guess in the reviews that I was hearing, they were saying the villains are just 2-dimensional, and they weren't interesting, and that Jason Momoa or whatever his name is, he's in here. He plays I don't know if you call him he's sort of a villain / good guy or whatever, I guess. And they didn't like him. They said he looked like Beetlejuice, like a big puffed up Beetlejuice or something or whatever. I don't know. I had no problem with Jason Momoa's character. The other guy who's the kind of the main villain, he has all these little stud things on his face and his head, and people were just saying, "Oh, he's like a a knockoff of Pinhead, or like what was that from that movie? Was it Pinhead or whatever from that old, the old those horror movies? John Carpenter ones, right? Um, so I don't know if maybe relate isn't exactly correct, but I just found that I enjoyed these characters. I you know I enjoyed watching them a little bit better. I mean, maybe I related to in my youth. I was on a bit of a bar crawl because or pub crawl. I mean, the whole thing about um, Supergirl is she's kind of depressed. She's lost. These are minor spoilers, but this is sort of like canon, I guess, right? So I don't think I'm giving away too much here, but it's about her planet was destroyed, her family and everything, everyone she knew and everything, they're all dead and they're all gone. And she comes to this other planet where she's just a stranger, and she feels really like alone. Even her own cousin, which is Superman, they never really knew each other because he was a baby when they sent him off, and she never really knew him. And then when she comes back, or when she comes to Earth, then because of the time worms or whatever, I mean, he physically is older than she is, but and they're not like, instant bonding or anything like that, So she feels she's alone. Her family's all dead. Her planet is dead and gone, and she's out just kind of going to places. she's and there's lots of like space travel in this, because I kept wondering, like, wow, I didn't know there was so much like spaceships and stuff. But she's got this little spaceship, and she's able to go to these other places that have different color suns, like red suns, and she doesn't have her powers then, but she's able to get drunk. So she's going around getting drunk, and so she's all trying to drink her sorrows away. And this is all in the trailer, by the way, so I'm not really giving away too much, but maybe I can relate to that, because I think there was a period in my life where I kind of, I mean, I definitely abused alcohol, so maybe, I don't know, but I just found that I think that made this picture a little more realistic than the Superman one, which the Superman movie, I found it to just be um, totally unrealistic. You can see why I'm not a professional critic, because I don't have all the best words. Super Cinema Vault says the film was absolute trash. Well, you know what? Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I am on here today to tell you that you're wrong. It was not absolute trash. It was not. But everyone's entitled to their opinion. Black Cat says, but it's not good writing, bub. What's wrong with the writing? Did you see it? Okay, so apparently you saw the movie. What was wrong with the writing? How is that writing so terrible? I mean, are you expecting, I don't know, Shakespeare level writing or what? I mean, it's a superhero movie based on a comic book. I don't know what was wrong with the writing. Justice A says, I always like movies with bad reviews. Hate the movies with good reviews. She looks cool. Yeah, I think so. I just took a couple stills. They're kind of all the same. Here's one of her, this is her kind of hungover look, I guess you'd say. Let's see. Her kind of like, the day after look. Uh, EDM says, most accurate review I've heard of Supergirl. It's True Grit with Supergirl as Jeff Bridges, John Wayne with Needle soundtrack drops. Yeah, and the soundtrack now. What's his face? James Gunn or whatever. Who's the guy who made The first Superman, and of course, is responsible for what's the Pratt movies. With all the cassette sound, the old '70s classic music, and you can see that kind of influence here. The soundtrack. Yeah, Gunn produced it. He didn't direct it, right? Um, yeah, I heard that thing. I heard the True Grit comparison also. You might be able to look through movies, and you might be able to get um, a whole bunch of movies that are about you know avenging something. Jackie's here. Hey, Jackie, 2149. Thanks for being here. Jolie says, not Russian for me. Just check. Maybe your VPN is connected to Russia. What a Russia. Black Cat Red, but that doesn't matter, my dude. I'm really behind in the chat. That's one thing that you'll find is when I read the chat, it makes me behind, and I'm not really sure what that was in reference to. Because I've been talking about other things, so I don't remember what that doesn't matter. I don't know what that was in reference to. So, but if you want to put it up again up here on my phone, I can see the current chat. I'm looking at my iPad. I'm getting chat from 10, 15 minutes ago. So, but if you want to, if you're even still here, I don't even know if you're still here or not. Jolie says, I care about my cat more than I care about most people. Josh C says, last time I saw a movie in a theater, it was some 3D thing and gave me a headache. I played live music for at least a dozen movies since then with no headache. Wow. Have you ever done the thing, Josh, where you watch The Wizard of Oz and with the Pink Floyd, was it Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon album? I think that's the thing. I think I did that one time just for fun. It was kind of cool. Justice AC says, I saw Steal This Story, Please. Recently, it was very inspiring about Amy Goodman and her life work with creating democracy now. Was it like a documentary, Justice AZ? Was that a doc? Johnny Katz, a late show. This is an impromptu, Johnny Katz. This is an impromptu. Black Cat says, I'm still here, but Bub, I love your sincerity. Well, thank you. So what you were saying, like, well, I don't even remember what you said now, but it was something about it that doesn't matter or something. But it's probably a small point we don't need to go back to. Johnny Katz is a good movie. So did you see it, Johnny Katz? Did you see Supergirl? So you thought it was good? Black Cat, it's not a good movie. It's fine. Well, what's the difference between fine and good? I guess fine is one. How many levels below good is fine? I don't know. I sat. I guess I'm really easy. I don't know. I sat there watching the movie, and I found myself enjoying the movie. So that's got to mean something. I remember when I was watching the Superman movie, I was kind of like not enjoying it. I was just like, I remember sitting in the Superman movie going, "This is stupid. This is really stupid." I didn't like all the different superhero characters. I thought they were stupid. And maybe because I'm not an aficionado of comic books, and I think that might play into it because maybe people love the Superman movie because maybe it was super accurate to Superman comics. I don't know. I just remember watching the Superman movie and going, "This is really stupid." and there was parts where they were trying to get you to be emotional, and I'm just like, you're not gonna, no, it's not working. It wasn't working with me. Johnny Cat says, I guess maybe because Clark doesn't know what he lost. Right, he doesn't know what he lost. He was just a baby. Kara grew up knowing how to use the technology. Earth always seemed primitive to her. Yeah, they're very. Yeah, he grew up. Yeah, like I said, he came as a baby. January Sports Lights is here. Hey, good to see you. What's good? All happy Sunday. Welcome to today's impromptu review or conversation discussion about the new Supergirl movie. Thanks for coming on in. Black Cat Red says, I like you, Trucker John. I will subscribe. That was great. It came from the heart. Genuine. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that you'll subscribe. I really, really do. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Josh C says, TJ, you don't have to have a fucking degree to be a professional critic. No, but I bet you all those ones, the ones that you see that are professional critics, I bet you they have journalism degrees or some sort of bachelor's degree or something. I'm not talking about just your standard like schmuck like me that just turns the camera on. I'm talking about the ones that like Siskel and Ebert. They're dead or whatever. But I mean, like the ones I see now are Christie and Alonzo. They're like TYT spinoffs, but they're movie critics. Who else do I see? Grace Randolph. She's the one that does like what's her page is called, behind the scenes or whatever. She totally panned it. And that I'm sure they're like have degrees and shit. Johnny Cat says not trash at all. Johnny Cat says, don't listen to critics. When you're a critic, what is your job? To criticize? It's in the name. Yeah, but they don't always. I mean, they're not really criticizing. I mean, there are movies that movie critics will love. They will praise it. They will say that it was great. So it's not like every review they give is negative just because they're a movie critic. Josh C says, no, but I sat in a pit for a Wizard of Oz production, like 40 shows a couple years ago. Black Cat Red, Superman was stupid. So at least we agree on that. I really didn't like it. But it got lots of praise. I think the reviews were very, very positive. And that's why it started to lead me to kind of doubt myself. Because then I was like, maybe I should go see it again. Maybe I missed something. What did I miss? Why does everyone love that movie? And I really didn't like it. Maybe I should go see it again. I don't think I did see it again. I think I just saw it the one time. Yeah, I didn't go back. But I was starting to doubt myself. Like, am I this cold, heartless person? Because everyone loved how Superman, and here's a bit of a spoiler, I guess, but how Superman, decided like not to kill anybody, even if they deserved it, or even if, people they were attacking people, he was going to do everything he could to like not kill anyone, even the bad guys. And people love that. And then I guess there was total, and this is when, Gaza is still going on, but this is when Palestine and Gaza was really in the news. Was this before the election? Has it been that long ago? Or after the election? I think it was after the election, wasn't it? But it had direct correlations or metaphors, or whatever you call it, to Gaza, right? And So there was a villain in there that was like Netanyahu, and then there was people that they were like Palestinians, they were like Gaza. So people just love, and look, I don't like this genocide. I'm against Netanyahu, but in this movie, I just thought it was corny. I thought it was corny the way they tried to put that message in there. But everyone loved it because I guess it's like you have to love it, or else you will be seen as being, I don't know, anti-Semite or Yosemite, or So I think people felt like they had to love that movie because of the message, you know. And I'm sorry, but it still sucked, and it was corny. It was corny. If you like corny movies, then I guess you would like Superman. But I do see that Black Cat Red and we do agree that Superman was stupid. Johnny Cat says, I saw Supergirl opening day. It was my birthday. Oh, well, happy birthday, because that wasn't too long ago. That was just a couple days ago, right? So happy belated birthday to Johnny Katz. Johnny Katz, are you the one that lives down by Fontana? I think you told me that the other day. Not that I'm trying to dox you. I never know if that was a no-no. If that's a no-no, but you did bring it up. I think you said you were down there in the Inland Empire area. Josh, she's found and subbed. Oh yeah, so Justice has I kind of did I miss that? But I guess Justice has a page. A YouTube channel. You guys want to subscribe? We all want subs, right? Johnny Cash says, and Lobo was in the movie. He's like my favorite villain of all time. I thought he was great, and they pan him. The reviews I've been seeing, they totally pan Jason Momoa, and they say that they compare him to Beetlejuice, and that he didn't really. What they say, I'm thinking. I remember Alonzo and Christie. I forget what their channel is called, but they said he just pops up out of nowhere, like, he's not really. I don't know. Hey man, he popped up when he needed to pop up, and he gave a little bit of comic relief because even though he's big and tough and he's doing the whole thing, he's got that delivery. He's got that Jason Momoa delivery where it's kind of funny, Josh C says criticism can be both subjective and objective, and it can be both. Well, when we're talking about movie critics, just because critic is in that title, it doesn't mean it's a negative thing. They can be the review can be both positive or negative or a combination of thereof. A combination thereof. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? I've got Tommy on my TV right now, so that's why I'm channeling. You know what I'm talking about? Boss. You know what I'm talking about? I should not get so low on the mic. I know that probably gets loud. It probably gets loud when I do that. Sorry about that. Black Cat Red says, Redhead says, I watched it twice. It was worse the second time. Which one did you watch twice? Superman or Supergirl? Because I don't think you're a fan of either. Right? You don't like either one of them. Johnny Cat says, that's why Supergirl seems more powerful in the movie. Superman was always holding back his powers because he was worried about injuring innocent bystanders. Yeah. And, I don't know if you guys are worried about spoilers, but I'll just say in the Supergirl movie, she doesn't hold back. I'll just say that. Black Cat Reddit, it has nothing to do with that. It's nonsense, garbage. I'm not sure see, now I don't know what has nothing to do with that. What I'm, when we're moving forward here, and I don't remember what was said maybe before that you're what you're responding to. So I don't know what it has nothing to do with. Johnny Cat says, yes, sir, that's me. Yeah, okay, all right. Thought so. I'm familiar with the Inland Empire. I grew up in Victorville and Apple Valley, and before they had a mall in Victorville, back in the 60s and 70s, they didn't have a mall in Victorville until 1985. We had some stores, a couple of supermarkets, and they had like a little Sears catalog office and a Monkey Ward's catalog office. So most of the, like my big back to school shopping, or even some of our big grocery shopping, if my parents wanted to buy new furniture, we would drive through the Cajon Pass down into San Bernardino and go shopping at the San Bernardino Mall. Now, the San Bernardino Mall is pretty much like a ghost town now. I'm not even sure if it's still there. Last time I drove, it's been a while since I drove past it on the 15, right? But back in the day, that was a good mall, man. I mean, it had everything. It had J.C. Penney's and Sears and a movie theater. I think that's where I saw Star Wars and American Graffiti. Even before that, back in the early 70s. San Bernardino Mall. That's where before we got our mall, we would come on, or even just to go to other stores. Like I think there was like Whitefront or something like that. Remember that? It was a big kind of a predecessor to like Costco. Anyhow, getting distracted here. Justice AZ says, I really like the Superman movies with Tobey Maguire. Oh, Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire. I was like, the third with the Sandman and Dark Spider-Man is my favorite. Yeah, I like the Spider-Man movies. I like those pretty much. Johnny Cass says, I don't care if people know where I live. If you track me down with malice in your heart, that's your fuck up. Laughing out loud. There is a link Jolie has provided for Justice AZ. Love Saves Lives. Want to check it out? There it is. Thank you, Jolie. Josh sees trademark chopstick mic. I was actually pricing some new microphones to get a little bit better quality. I know this is not the best quality. I was going to order one, just sort of a next level up. Like I bought these on Temu for, I think it was a 2-pack for like $6.77, and so I was just I found it sort of like the next level up for on sale for 16 something. So I might get that, see if the sound quality is a little bit better. I know I saw Jolie earlier on Liberal Dan's show talk about the mics that she bought me for my birthday, and those are not. Yeah, I could never get those. Those aren't compatible. I can only use the USB, the plug-in that I have. I tried to get. I bought like adapters and stuff for those mics, and even with the adapters, it just doesn't. It just doesn't work on a phone. That one. So I could never use that. So that's why I'm still using the chopstick mic, and with the Bluetooth. This is all it's a Bluetooth thing. So as long as I'm using the phone for my show, it's got to be a plug-in Bluetooth receiver type of a deal. Let's see. Marby Dog says the suit totally smashed Millie's boobs. Okay. Well, alrighty then. And that's the thing about Millie. Was it Millie Alkov? Millie Alkov. She's the one who plays Supergirl. And so many of these like dudes are getting on YouTube and other places. I'm sure, because I'm usually on YouTube the most. So, but I'm sure on all the other platforms, and just trashing her looks and making memes and saying how ugly she is. She looks like the cave boy and the wild boy from Mad Max and all this shit. But you know what? All those motherfucking incels that are trashing her, they would go out with her in a heartbeat. You know, so fuck those guys. Um, yeah, Black Cat Red. I'm not sure if I want to, in the interest of spoilers, I don't know if I want to talk about that at the ending. Um, but I'm just saying that I liked it. I thought it was pretty bold of the writers to do that and not have her be. It just showed how opposite she is of Clark. You um, because Clark wouldn't have done that. Johnny Cat. They were referencing the correlation between Palestine and the character. Yeah, well, I kind of went over that, and that's fine. But I felt like here's what that people felt obligated to praise the movie because it is a good message. I mean, it was a good. If I remember the Superman movie correctly, it was like saying, okay, genocide is wrong, no matter who's doing it, whether it's, you know, well, I don't know if it said that in the movie, but it was definitely referencing, you know, what's going on in Gaza and the genocide going on in there, and so I think people felt obligated, like they must like this movie because if you don't like this movie, that means that you are pro genocide, and you know because I don't see why people liked it otherwise. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Uh, Johnny Cat says there was no bus to bring you down from Victorville area right back then. Yeah, I guess not. We just drove. It's like a, I don't know, half-hour drive or whatever. 40 minutes, or whatever. Yeah, Carousel Mall has been demolished. Oh, Carousel has been demolished. Inland Center Mall is still there. Oh, okay. Well, I think I've been to both. I think I've been to both of those. Um, Jolie lives in Indiana. Just reading the chats here. Justice AZ, Springfield needs their Haitian community members to survive. They contribute immensely to the economic strength, which is why the city invited them. Yeah, exactly. I remember that. And that whole thing. So we're getting maybe a little off topic from Supergirl. There's only 5 people watching, so I guess it doesn't matter. But switching gears a little bit to the Haitian thing. Yeah, the whole they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, and all that shit. That started from this one apparently racist lady, right? She posted something on, on X or something, and then Trump took it and ran with it. Turned out to be totally false, of course, total bullshit. And the lady who posted it, I think she felt she might have got a little guilty conscience or something about. She saw how the Haitians were getting targeted by all the fucking racism in the whole country. It became a national story. And then she said, "You know what? I made it up, man. I just made it up. I don't know why I did it. I shouldn't have done it." She felt bad, but still, fuck her. But she made the whole thing up. And Trump, being the idiot that he is, someone just probably Stephen Miller or somebody just said, "Hey, look at this. Look what happened here," and he's just like, "Oh yeah, okay," And so it just shows how dangerous when you have someone who is as popular or well known as Donald Trump. I mean, he was a former president, and then he was running again, and he's running for president. He's the front runner for the Republican Party, and it just shows how the things that come out your mouth are so important, or could be so. It's so important what you say in that situation, because you can get people killed because of your big stupid mouth. Donald Trump. I'm talking to Donald Trump. Jolie says it says it was compatible. Yeah, I know, and I remember looking at all that stuff on Amazon, and they lied, Jolie. They lied. They were liars. It was not compatible. I got, it said to get the dongle or whatever. It said to get these adapters, and I did that, and it still wouldn't work. Johnny Cash, turning 45 sucks. Just wait till you turn 65. I'm 65. You know what? I would give one of my nuts to be 45 again, left or right. Whoever would be in charge of that, it's choice. I would give one of my nuts to be 45 again, man. But that's the way it always is. Like, no matter how old you are, there are people older than you that would love to be your age again. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Justice AZ, they were invited, and it's going to demolish their local economy, not to mention hurting the good people. Yeah, they're good people. They're hardworking people. They're coming here, to better their lives and support their families. And then you get these fucking racist. That could have been they should make a correlation to that, a metaphor for that in a Superman movie. Johnny Cash, laughing out loud, 1 year. Well, that was the age difference for somebody. I guess with Black Cat Redhead. Black Cat Redhead says, no, Trucker John, no, this is a writing problem. Okay, so what was it about the writing you didn't like? Okay, you didn't buy the dog thing. I will admit, okay, are we going to do spoilers? You guys mind? Give me a show of hands if it's okay if I just do some spoilers. This might be a spoiler review. I might have to redo the headline there. Okay, I'm going to do some spoilers. A little bit. I'll try not to be too spoiler. But I will admit that it did seem a little callous of her, which I think kind of goes with the character, though. But she did seem to be more concerned about her dog than she did about the little girl's family who got wiped out. Okay, there's that. I mean, she did seem a little like, fuck you, my dog's gonna die. You just lost you just saw your mother and father and brother get hacked to pieces. But I've got a dog I gotta save. I don't know. Is that what you're talking about? Are we doing spoilers? I guess we're doing spoilers. I don't know. Josh Caesar says, I just think I feel slower and curse under my breath more. Johnny Cass, didn't turn out the old white guy was actually eating the ducks. Oh, about there was an old white guy. Oh, I don't know. Josh, he says, old white guy paying young white guys to help them shoot ducks. I guess I didn't hear that part of the story. I just thought the lady who posted that recanted it. But yeah, I didn't hear about old white guys eating the ducks. But they weren't eating the cats and the dogs, right? No one was eating any cats or dogs, right? They were just eating some ducks. Apparently. I don't know. Oh, okay. So Justice AC says her Miss Sassy was missing. So this is the lady who posted that the Haitians were eating cats and dogs. So I guess she said her Miss Sassy was missing, and she accused her neighbor of eating the cat. She found Miss Sassy safe and sound went to her neighbor and apologized in person, and they all lived happily ever after. Except for all the other white racist assholes across the country, thanks being spurred on, to be, racist as fuck, spurred on by Donald Trump, of course. Black Cat Red says, "Attaboy, Trader John, 65. You're on fucking YouTube. Get after it." I figured, what the hell? Age is just a number. No, it's not just a number. Justice AZ says, until JD Vance fed that shit to Trumpster. So it was Vance, not Stephen Miller. Okay, that checks. That checks. Vance is just as bad. He's just as bad as all of them. Black Cat Red, spoil it. It's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change the title to spoiler review, just in case, because some people do watch the replays. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Johnny Cass, let's sort this shit out. Black Cat Red, the dog. I love dogs. Okay, but crypto. So what was the you're criticizing the writing? Is it just you thought it was like too on the nose? Was it too on the nose? Was that the term, on the nose? Was it or was it the story? Like you didn't like maybe elements of the story? What is it about the writing you didn't like? Because I know I've heard other people criticize the writing. I didn't have a problem with the writing. I wasn't really expecting anything like Tarantino level dialogue, which that would have been cool. Have Tarantino come in and punch up that dialogue. But I didn't think it was really that bad, actually. It is what it is. Just AC says, seriously, Johnny Katz, it had a happy ending until it got all fucked up with that BS. Yeah, because of Trump. Yeah, it would have worked itself out if Trump had just kept his mouth shut, right? Josh C's says, I meant old rich people pay for hunting trips to feel like they're outdoorsy. Yeah, those canned, what don't they call them, a canned hunt or something? Where, they've already got all the whatever their prey is. They've got people up ahead, and they're in cages or whatever, and they have guides that take them through. And then when they get close, they'll radio ahead, and they're like, "Okay, go ahead and let them out," And then they'll be like, "Look over there, get that one," or something like that. Black Cat Red, nah, dude, you're awesome. I don't know if you're not me or to one of the other people, but Johnny Cat says, for sure, fuck hunters. Johnny Cat's SS special spoiler stream. Johnny Cat, so when, what's her name? Kara? Yeah, Kara. That's Supergirl's name. Was able to metabolize the kryptonite. Yeah, do you think she will utilize that to attempt to save her people? Well, I think her people are dead. Aren't they all dead? Are there any left? I'm not sure. I'm not real super familiar with the canon, but on the Supergirl WB show, on that show, didn't her mother lived on some other planet? They found another planet to live on or something. In this movie, again, I'll try not to be too spoilerish, but on this movie, that's not the case. But okay, so if we want to get nitpicky, now look, I've always maintained that stories it wouldn't be a story if the characters did everything right? Stories are based on mistakes, I guess. But one of the first things that I thought, okay, we're just going full on spoilers. Okay, so it shows on this planet, some other planet. It's not Earth. It's a different planet. It has a red sun, I guess. Um, there's these people. Of course, they live out in the middle of nowhere. You know, not no neighbors for as far as you can see. But apparently, they were like the bad guys land. There's in a spaceship. Everyone's got spaceships. The bad guys land. Then inside the little house or whatever. You see this family. And they're like, oh, they found us. So apparently they were. It sounds like they were on the run or they were trying to hide from these particular bad guys, because this dude, the people in the house, he's like this master craftsman who makes the best swords in the galaxy. Apparently, I don't know. He's a master swordsman, and I don't know if they have special powers or if this guy, the bad guys, just wanted to collect them because they were valuable. You know, like it was like getting a what was the samurai sword in Kill Bill? You know, like this master samurai sword, whatever. But anyhow, so they come there, and they're like, okay. The wife is like, okay, just give them the swords and they'll leave. And then they're like, but you're thinking like, they're not going to leave. They're not going to just leave. They're going to fucking kill you. Okay, so they go in, the bad guys. They bust through the doors or whatever, and he's like, where's the swords and all this shit. And then he's like, she's like, the wife is like, just take the swords and leave or whatever. And then I don't remember all the dialogue and everything, but there was this one point where the shit's starting to go down. You know, it's getting violent. And then the guy pushes this button, like he had a secret button, and then it sends these like bombs, and it blew up the bad guy's ship to smithereens, and probably blew up a bunch of bad guys in the process. My first thought was, why didn't you do that as soon as you knew they were there? Like before they even got out of the ship. Why didn't you just do that then? Then I had to tell myself, okay, John, look. It wouldn't be a story if they didn't make a mistake. So that is my what do you call it? My disbelief thing. You know, so I have to let that slide. Otherwise, here we are. We're 5 minutes into the movie, and I would already have to leave if I couldn't allow that. Because then I got to think, okay, well, the wife did say to just give them the swords and they'll leave, and maybe they were naive or whatever. You know, it was a mistake. But my first thought was, why didn't you do that immediately? Like when they were landing, as soon as they land, you push the button, the bombs go, they fly to the thing, and it blows them all up. And not only would you have saved your wife and your children's lives, you know, So that was the first thing. I think that was the first thing that I was like, really, you know, you couldn't have done that. But then I had to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, okay, they thought they made a mistake. They fucked up, and it was a fatal flaw. The dad or the mom, because she could have pushed the button too, I guess, they fucked up, and it cost them their lives. So there was that. That was one thing that I was like, you know, I had to justify it somehow. And then, okay, here we are. Full spoilers, guys. Full spoilers. When the I forget what they're called, but she was on the bus ship, you know, the old rattly bus ship, and then those scavengers, like or whatever they were called, boarded the ship, and because they're like robbing everybody, and she still doesn't have her powers because she's been on the red planet, the red sun, and then she goes in this like gets in this vapor lock room, and she's putting on a spacesuit because she wanted to get in the spacesuit and to go out into space, because I think the yellow sun, you could see it kind of up on the horizon coming up over a planet or whatever. So I guess her plan was to get into the spacesuit and then get up into the rays of the yellow sun, and then she would get her powers. But before she could get her suit all the way on, she had the suit on, but she didn't have her helmet on. One of those scavenger people saw her, and so she just pushed this button, and then it just opens the vapor lock or whatever you call it, or hyper vapor sonic. I don't know, but you know the thing, we see it in all the movies, all the space movies, where it opens up and sucks her out into space. And she didn't have her powers yet. And I thought, okay, I think if she didn't have her powers, it seems like she would have died instantly, because space is like 1,000,000 degrees below zero or whatever. And we've seen other space movies where they go into space and then they turn instantly into brittle ice, and they split up into 1,000,000 pieces. What movie is that? I'm thinking of a movie, right? You guys know movies. So I'm thinking how did she not die instantly? And it took forever. They really dragged the scene out where she's floating in space, and then finally she starts to get into the rays of the sun, and then she comes back to life. But it seems like she would have been, and she gets her powers, and then she's able to fly, and she's able to take back the ship, and she captures those bad guys and stuff. But so I guess that was number 2. Where it was really, I had to just convince myself to be too critical of it, or maybe or convince myself that maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she does have some reserve kind of powers, and because they showed the metabolism thing, metabolizing the krypton and all that shit, kryptonite. But anyhow, there was that. Let me go back to the chat and see if anybody else has got any opinions that I've missed. Black Cat Red thoughts about the suns, timetables, power scaling, their relationship to Clark, her relationship to Clark. She's sad, okay, but you still have family. Well, she came around, didn't she? You did see the very last scene when she got back to Earth. Spoilers, people. If you don't want spoilers, there's only 4 people watching. But if there's any of the 4 of you that don't want to be spoiled, I guess go away. But the very last scene, she was back on Earth, and she kind of was like, saying, "Yeah, I think I'm going to stick around," because he's like, "You're going to continue your pub crawl or whatever," or maybe that was the other girl's line. But he said something like, "Are you going to be around?" And she's like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to be around. I think I'm going to stick around." And you can see that she was a little more receptive to hanging around and getting to know Clark better and helping him out. Because he said, like, I could have used your help. He goes, I could always use your help, like fighting, bad guys or whatever. So, she did come around at the end there. Yeah, Hattori Hanzo. Yeah, there you go. There you go, Johnny Cass, with the Kill Bill reference there. Josh says, I can't hear the word sword without thinking about SNL Celebrity Jeopardy's words. Black Cat Red says, nope, John, that's the problem with writing. That's not on you. Johnny Cass, because he didn't want to have to kill people if he didn't have to. Talking about Superman, which I get. I can understand that. Yeah, he's a good guy. Superman, he doesn't want to kill people, but there's some times where I think it's justified. You know what I mean? And there are some times where you got to make a decision. Do I let this bus of people die, or do I let that bus of people die, or whatever? I don't know. Oh, that's the trolley paradox, probably, Josh. Yeah, I think I just did the trolley paradox. Black Cat, he's beginning to believe, haha. But you know what? I still enjoyed the movie. I was still able to enjoy the movie. There are some movies. There are movies, guys, that I have walked out on. I'm trying to think of them now. I mean, I usually stick with it. There are movies that I don't like, and I might just stick with it just to see if it gets better. But there have been some movies in my lifetime. I'm 65, so I've seen a lot of movies. There's a handful of movies where it was just too ridiculous. I just couldn't, or even like here's one that comes to mind, and a lot of people like this movie. I think Hal Sparks likes this movie. It's the one. It's the Stallone and was it Mickey Rourke, and where I guess they're undercover cops and they ride motorcycles. And the way Hal Sparks explains it, I'm like, maybe I should give it a rewatch because maybe I guess it's just supposed to be a goofy parody or something. I don't know. But I'm watching it, and I remember that movie. I can't remember the name of it. I'm sure you guys do. I'm sure one of you two people. We're down to two people. No, the movie I'm talking about. It was so bad I couldn't watch that. I remember watching. Was it Samuel Jackson or who did? Someone did a remake of. What was the black exploitation, or one of the black like Private Eye movies from the 70s. I think it was Samuel Jackson did a remake. I remember walking out on that. I walked out on one. I'm not sure. If that's the movie, but something like that. I mean, there are movies that I have walked out on, and I just can't. I can't make the justification or whatever. This movie, I liked it. Johnny Cash, Kryptonians can't die. Well, didn't the whole planet get blown up and die? They died? Didn't they die? Josh sees Black Cat says, Black Cat, I said something about Florida Man defies physics earlier. Black Cat Red says, you're still manning me, Bubba. I will always watch you from now on. Well, thank you. We're on usually Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time and Saturdays at 11. This is just an impromptu I did tonight. Johnny Cat says, maybe she was smart enough to know to exhale all the oxygen in her body in place of dying. They would enter a comatose metabolic state. Well, whatever it is, I mean, you have to come up with something like that, I guess, in order to justify it, right? I mean, maybe I didn't in so many words as that, but something in my brain, somehow I was like, okay, there's something about her being a Kryptonian or something that the average mortal human or whatever, as soon as that seal was broken and she flew out into space, would be dead instantly. So yeah, there's something, you have to somehow go, okay, there's something about being a Kryptonian, I guess. Hunter Iggy is here. Says, what is your thoughts on the grifters bashing and attacking Millie Alcock? I think it's deplorable. And we were talking about this earlier, Hunter, about how they're saying she looks like someone said, Shaka from the, I guess it was, the old TV show Land of the Lost. Also, the little wild boy from those first, or one of those Mad Max movies. And then all these memes that they're showing are like really ugly, and they're just, I think it's deplorable. She's not ugly, I mean, she's got like a gap tooth or whatever, or I think she's cool. I think she's a cool looking chick. So I think it's pretty, and that's where I was getting earlier. I was talking about like some sort of conspiracy. It almost seems like, but I guess it's not. But or these things just grow. These things just fester, and that hate, all that hate, it grows. In that's when the internet and social media can be so kind of dangerous. And talking about the Haitian people, it's the same thing, right? Like they're eating the dogs, they're eating the ducks and the cats. It turned out to be all bullshit, and they're still facing. Uh, those people are still facing, racism and accusations, and even though it was not true, and it's the same thing with kind of the same thing. I mean, this is less serious, I guess, but this Millie Alcock or whatever her name is, I don't. Somebody said it right. Just the hate, and it's been growing and growing. It's like it's like it's snowballing as it goes down the hill. Like the snowball gets bigger and bigger, and it's just I think it's deplorable because she was really good. Now I don't know if Black Cat Redhead thinks that she was good. But I think she was really really good. Her performance was really good. You know, I think. Um, Johnny Cat says the weapons crafter didn't want to kill people if he wasn't forced to. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so he makes these fucking awesome swords, I guess, but he's a pacifist. I don't know. Well, it turned out to be a mistake. So I guess, yeah, like I said, they thought they could just give them the swords and go away. Now the thing that incited that maybe they would have just gone away. The thing that I failed to mention and I kind of forgot, but so I guess this is what happened. So everything I said was probably wrong. I might have to take back everything I said about them. Like he should have pushed the button or whatever. Because the brother that we're full on spoilers here, guys. All three of you. The brother was in one room and he was like listening to music on his headphones, very space like. And then the girl, the daughter, she was like in the hallway, right? Or yeah, I guess she was in the hallway, standing there, and she saw what was going on with the bad guy talking to her parents and stuff. And then the brother saw his sister standing in the hallway. So what sometimes brothers do or siblings do, they play tricks on one another, right? And he just jumped out of his room and like said boo or whatever to his sister to scare her. And when he did that, the bad guy just turned and I guess he had like an axe type of thing and he just threw it into the back of the son because he had his back turned to him because he was facing his sister because he jumped out to scare her, as a joke. And then I guess that's what set the whole thing off because then he killed the son. And then I guess that's when I think that might be when they pushed the button, or maybe they were getting beat up or something. There was a fight. Somehow they finally pushed the button. It blew up their spaceship, and I'm assuming they probably killed a bunch of their guys. And then he just let the girl go because he's like didn't give a fuck about her because she was just this little very unassuming. I guess I think they just left and didn't care if they didn't bother to kill her because she just stood there kind of in shock. She didn't really do anything. Spoilers, guys. I got 7 watching now, so just beware. We're doing spoilers on this show. I probably should. I wonder if I should. Can I change the wording on here? I don't know. I don't want to risk it. I'll do something. I'll end up ending the show or something. Tango and Cash. I think that was it. Black Cat Red. Did you like that? Did you like that? Did you see that movie? I thought it was horrible. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was the goofiest. I think I watched 20 or 30 minutes of it and I walked out. But I know I've heard a lot of people say it's a great movie. Maybe I didn't give it enough of a chance. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different Stallone. I think there was another Stallone movie. And I like Stallone movies. I like Rocky and Rambo and a lot of his movies. I think Tango and Cash I didn't like. And I think there was another around that time where he did another cop movie that I thought was pretty stupid. Justice is still here. Justice AZ still here. Johnny Katz, are you saying Tango and Cash was a bad movie? Oh my God, I need to sit down. See, a lot of people like that movie. Shaft. I guess, was it Shaft? Did Samuel L. Jackson do a remake of Shaft? I think I walked out on that one. Maybe I just liked the original too much and I just couldn't stand it. Justice AZ says Zero Effect is one of my all-time favorite movies. Zero Effect. I don't think so. It's not ringing any bells with me. Um, it's not ringing any bells. If you tell me a little bit of like who was in it and what it was about, maybe it'll ring a bell or two. I don't know. Josh sees. I always make up an alternative storyline for plots just like lyrics. Hey, Big Hook, the Big Canuck is here. So is it worth the price of a ticket? Well, I only paid $6. The theater I like going to, it's pretty cheap. If I would have went earlier, I think it was only $5, and I went a little bit later. I had a senior discount, so it was $6. I think the regular price for young people, I think, is only like $7.50. So it's a cheap theater. I think it's worth $6. Now I don't know, what is your ticket? I mean, what's the average price now? 14, $15, maybe $20. Um, you know, I think it's probably worth that if that's the going rate. You know, for whatever the going rate is where you're at. Johnny Cat says my youngest nephew was like, "Wouldn't that water be frozen in space?" I was like, "No, not frozen." Which water? The water on the planet? Black Cat Redhead says she's not ugly. She's got some chompers, but she's pretty. Yeah, I think she's pretty. Yeah, the memes are funny. Yeah, it's funny, but it's just sort of snowballing into this thing of just hatred, and I feel sorry for her. But I mean, I guess you got to have a thick skin. But Johnny Cass, I hate when hate turns into vitriol. Vitriol. Um, Josh C says any chick is hotter than Mar-a-Lago injections. Johnny Cass, just like the Central Park Five. Just as AZ, she's badass. I thought she did some pretty good fight choreography and stuff. You know. Just as AZ says, I will take my 14-year-old to see it. To see the Spider Girl. I mean, Spider Girl. Is there a Spider Girl? Has there ever been a Spider Girl? That's how out of the comic book um reading I am. Did they ever have a spider? It seems like they should have had a Spider Girl at some point. Black Cat Red Ed says her innocent family only makes the best weapons. Yeah, they were. It seems like, why would you want to kill them? So that's why I think it was an act. Like the whole thing with the boy jumping out is what set that off. I think because I don't think they probably weren't going to kill them. Probably not. But I don't know. Who knows? Johnny Cass says, remember the guy who invented Gatling gun thought that he was going to end wars, and I think the same is like wasn't the kind of the same thing with the guy who invented like TNT and stuff like that. So kind of thought the same thing. Big Hook says maggots latch onto anything to hate and troll. Their leader is such a dipshit that they can't defend very much anymore. Black Cat Red and Murder Time. Johnny Cass, that guy did try and solve every problem with murdering. Which guy? Or without murdering? I don't know. Black Cat Red, just space traffic guy. Don't kill him. Big Hook, Big Hook. Using that extra $200 for a tree day. Well, it was $6, and I already have a bus pass. It's a mile and a half. I got the bus stop is right across the street. I just hop on the bus. Went and treated myself to a $6 movie. Um, Black Cat Red Tango and Cash is retarded, but now we shouldn't use the R word, by the way. I always substitute the R word with moronic or something like that. Just so you know. Joshie says, "Oh geez, I stood in a doorway and accidentally scared the fuck out of my wife the other night. Almost tears. I felt so bad." Um, Johnny Cats, but you kind of got to kill everyone because if you leave one person alive, they will seek revenge, and and then that's what happened, right? And that's kind of like not so much True Grit, but there are lots of kind of westerns that are like that. I've although a lot of those spaghetti westerns. There's other westerns. Remember the Quick and the Dead when what's her face was at her hottest. What was the chick? Let's just get all misogynistic. What's her face? That was she was so hot, but it was about these gunslingers, and Gene Hackman was in it, right? And Russell Crowe. Leonardo DiCaprio was in that movie when he was really young. That was kind of like that, kind of a revenge thing. There's lots of movies about. Well, Kill Bill's a revenge movie, but that's a little bit different. Where, well, they thought they killed the bride, I guess, but but there's lots of movies like that where they let someone live and then that person came back. Remember that one movie? Did you guys see that a few years ago? It was a really good movie. It was all black, like black, uh, mainly like because there was a white town and there was like this black town. I remember seeing the movie. I can't remember the name of it. That was kind of like that, where the boy grew up and then got revenge. Remember? You guys remember that movie? So there's lots of revenge movies like that. Black Cat Red, $6. Where the fuck in Las Vegas? I'm out here in Las Vegas in the Outer Rim, though, otherwise known as Boulder Highway. Yeah, it's a good deal. That's where I go see my movies because they're like I said. If I go a little bit earlier, it would only be $5, unless they raise their prices since the last time I went because I haven't gone in a while. I think the last movie I saw might have been Superman. I'm trying to think. So I haven't gone. It's been a while since I went. Justice AZ says Bill Pullman, Ben Stiller, murder mystery, and Pullman plays a private eye training Stiller. I don't think I ever saw that. Was that called Zero Effect? I don't think I ever saw that. Sounds good. Sounds like a great cast. I like Bill Pullman and Ben Stiller. I really like them. Johnny Cass says when she was in space with no suit and a single tear. Oh yeah, yeah. That should have froze. Unless space in that part of the galaxy is different or something. But I thought maybe they were close enough in the atmosphere of that because wasn't there like a planet? Maybe they weren't out in the real super cold part yet. Maybe that was it. Hey, I just found my out. Black Cat Red Ed. I just found my out. I think they weren't in the real super cold part of space yet. They might have been closer into a warmer atmosphere because the tear didn't freeze. I think the tear proves it. So there you go. So I stand corrected. Justice AC says it's hilarious from the 90s. A sleeper won a bunch of indie awards. Bill Big Hook says up here in Vancouver, unfortunately, they got rid of the cheaper theaters. Now everything is expensive. Jessica AZ, Spider Pig from The Simpsons. Jessica AZ, anyone sees Sharp Objects? A miniseries on Hulu, I think. I don't think I saw Sharp Objects. Johnny Katz, the augmented Bat Cave. He was a one-trick pony, and the trick was murder. I don't. Well, I don't know that one. Black Cat Red. Trucker John is amazing. The name is perfect. I love your jib. I love the cut of your jib. I think is how it goes. Um, I watch everything on my computer. Charlize Theron. I love Charlize Theron. She's hot. Um, who was Atomic Blonde? Was that Charlize Theron? Atomic Blonde. Atomic Blonde. Now, don't tell me you don't like that movie. I'll put Atomic Blonde up against John Wick movies any day of the week. Was that Charlize? Right? She kicked some ass in that movie. Those fight scenes were epic. And I will put Atomic Blonde up. I don't know why there wasn't an Atomic Blonde franchise. They should have franchised that one. Not that John Wick. I like the first John Wick. I think it gets kind of old after a while. The movies, but I like the franchise, I guess, but especially the first one. Atomic Blonde. I always thought they should have made more of those, and that was an awesome movie. If you like, shoot 'em up, fight 'em ups, like just badass, kicking ass. And she was kicking some ass, man. And I thought it was pretty realistic because she's a woman and she's going against dudes who are bigger and stronger, and she would get the shit kicked out of her, But she was still had such great talents, fighting talents. She was able to overcome. She was able to improvise, as old Gunny used to say. It wasn't Charlize Theron in Quick and the Dead, by the way. If that's why you said that. Johnny Katz, look at what happens in the real world. The war on terrorism actually produces terrorists, survivors. But yeah, exactly, Johnny Katz. You're right. We are producing our military endeavors have produced how many terrorists? Yeah. Just as AZ, I rewatched Russell Crowe in The Insider with Al Pacino. So good. Is that the one about the cigarette? Something about busting the cigarette companies or something? Django Unchained. That's a great movie. I love Django Unchained. I guess you could say, yeah, kind of a bridge thing. Black Cat Red, Chucker John, how do you see Project Hail Mary? Wait, how do you see Project Hail Mary? I don't know what that is. I mean, I might know, but I might just be blanking out right now. So you might have to refresh this old noggin. Johnny Katz, actually liquids boil in space. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. I'm going to skip down a little bit because I know I do get kind of behind. Johnny Cat says, yes, just like it's easier to boil water at higher altitudes, less pressure and less heat required to boil off liquid. Big Hook says, ponies wasn't bad. I hope they get a second season. I was disappointed that the recruit was given the cut. I don't know what that is. I don't know what pony. I've never heard of ponies. Black Cat read, but she's Kryptonian. Um, yeah. Big Hook, Big Hook. I hope Tarantino makes more movies. He says the next one will be his last. Aren't they making this like a spinoff from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Brad Pitt and the stuntman? Is that going to be a movie or is that going to be a Netflix either series or movie? I'm confused because I've seen. I think I saw some clips about wasn't it named Cliff something, but I haven't. Is it out yet? Did I miss it? It didn't come out, did it? Because I really want to see it, but I'm confused. Is that a Netflix show? Is it a feature film? Is it all just in my head? I don't know. If Tarantino only makes one more feature film, I don't think he's gonna just quit though. I think he's gonna. I think he wants to do maybe like TV shows or something. I don't know. Well, who knows? I don't know. Johnny Cat says relative to Brad Knight, Shauna, I'd rather watch Quentin Tarantino. I hate Brad Knight, Shyama open endings. I don't even know what that is. I know what Quentin Tarantino is. I don't know what the Brad Knight Shyama thing is. Is that a I don't know. Might have to tell me. Jessica AZ, yes, very relevant to right now though. Jolie says I loved Project Hail Mary. What is it? What is Project Hail Mary? Did I see that? Have I seen it? I may have seen it and I just don't remember. Because it sounds familiar. It does sound familiar, but I don't think I saw it. Johnny Cat says, yeah, when a super cool bottle of water is liquid until you crack the top and then you can see all the ice crystals form. That is pretty cool. Big Hook, Big Hook. You loved Ryan Gosling. Is Ryan Gosling is in Project Hail Mary? I guess. Oh, I think I did see. Was that at the theater? Was that a feature? Because I think I saw. I think I remember seeing a trailer or something about it, but I didn't see the movie. I have not seen it. That's a movie, right? But it's starting to. I'm starting to remember seeing something about it now. Um, M Night. Um, M Night. What's his face? I liked. Um, the first one, the I See Dead People one. I like that one. And then it seems like his movies just got. I don't know. I remember seeing the one with the people lived in the village, and it looked like they were from the 1700s. Here's more spoilers. Why should I stop now? Then it turned out that it was really like current times, and they just had bought a bunch of land, and then they made up these scary stories so people wouldn't go too far out and find the fence. I thought that was all right. I guess I remember seeing that one. Um, what was it? The UFO one. That one was pretty good with Mel Gibson, right? And Joaquin Phoenix, or what? Or was it, no, wait, is Joaquin Phoenix? Yeah, yeah. Um, I guess I guess I like his movies. I thought Unbreakable. I liked Unbreakable, and I liked the sequel, which I thought was kind of interesting because the sequel was really a lot different. You know, you almost didn't know it was a sequel. So I guess I do like his movies. But I remember there was something that I would kind of complain about his movies, but I think I like them. I don't know. Um, Josh C says one of my coworkers never got through a Tarantino film. I recommend the Hollywood Thing. Once Upon a Time. I love every single Tarantino movie. I love all of them, and whatever one I'm watching, whether it's Pulp Fiction or Django Unchained or Inglorious Bastards or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or Kill Bill Part One or Volume One or part, and then I'll be going, this is a masterpiece. This is the best. And then I'll watch another one, or I'll go, wait a minute, no, this is a masterpiece. Oh, this is the this. So I love Tarantino. Some people don't, but I love every feature film that he's made. He's done some other little things like those little Roadhouse movies were not, they're okay, like that one. He's done a couple of other little things, I guess, that I'm not too crazy about. But his feature films, Reservoir Dogs, everything. I love every one of his feature films. Justice AZ says Sixth Sense was great. Yeah, that's the one, the I See Dead People one. Okay. Black Cat Red Ed says Unbreakable was his peak. Yeah, I liked Unbreakable, and then there was like a follow up one that came up, right, with what's that guy's name? James something. Really great actor, right? Really great actor. He was in it in the follow up. I guess I'm calling it a follow up instead of a sequel because it was part of the same. It was actually a sequel, but it just was. It didn't seem like a sequel. Um, Signs, yeah, Signs, Bub, yeah, Signs. I like Signs. I remember. Do you guys remember? I saw that movie. That was like 2004 because I remember I was going to truck driving school, and truck driving school was Monday through Friday. It was up in Sacramento, and you were there. You got a they get they gave you a hotel room, and I was lucky because you would they were putting two people in a room, and the guy I was rooming with, because I like to be by myself. I don't like to room with people. But the guy that I was rooming with, he washed out like after one day. He couldn't hack it truck driving school, and he left. He went back home. He was from Fontana or something, and so then I had my hotel room all to myself after like one day. But on the week they didn't have class on the weekends. It was just Monday through Friday. So on the weekend, and this is like I guess it was like a 2 week or either 3 week. I forget, it was 2 or 3 weeks because I think I had a couple of weekends there to kill, and I went to the movies and I saw Signs. So that's why I know it was I think it was 2004. Um, oh no, not Signs, not Signs. I'm sorry, the Village one. I think it was the. Now I'm confused. What was that one about the Village? That might be the one that was 2004. Signs might have been later. But anyhow, what I was going to say is, do you guys remember if you saw it in the theater? Because I like the theater. I like the shared experience. And when I saw Signs, it was like a packed theater. And literally, I don't know why, because when it really wasn't that, I don't know, scary. But when they started showing like aliens in the movie, people in the theater were like screaming and shit. And I remember that was funny. I thought it was funny that people were getting so scared um, when they saw the aliens for the first time or something. Big Hook says the plot is the Earth is losing sunlight and Gosling is sent to another star to check out why it's not affected and finds the reason and it has to infect the sun with the cure. Oh. Is that a metaphor for something? Is there a metaphor? Every movie is a metaphor. Every story is a metaphor. and it could be whatever you want it to be. The writer can create a story, a movie, whatever, and there could be metaphors that that writer never even thought about. Black Cat Redhead says your complaint would be that a lot of his movies don't make sense. Well, maybe, I don't know. I don't remember now. I guess because I've seen it. I watched him one time and then I don't see him again. So I don't really remember. But I do remember. I remember I liked Unbreakable and I liked the follow up with James what's his face. I really liked that. Those two. I liked the Dead People one. What was it called? Sixth Sense or something? Somebody said it, and I've already forgot. I don't know. No one liked it. No comments about Atomic Blonde. No one liked Atomic Blonde. My goodness. I thought that would get some conversation. You guys didn't like Atomic Blonde? The Glass Man. Yeah, so that was Samuel Jackson, right? I think. Big Hook says Kill Bill 1 and 2 were great. They're all great. I think all the Tarantino's movies are great. Josh sees I'm fascinated someone wouldn't hold on for the ride. Yeah, Bruce Willis was the Unbreakable one. Johnny Katz, Reservoir Dogs was amazing, but my favorite Quentin Tarantino film is Four Rooms. See, I didn't like that one, and he only did one room. He only did one story, right? Wasn't it like Robert Rodriguez and Tarantino, and like they each had like their own 20-minute or 30-minute or whatever. I really didn't like that. Village of the Damned. Is that what that movie was called? Josh C says The Village was creepy, and Signs was Mel Gibson. Yeah. Johnny Katz. Signs was the alien in, and Village was about a village in a state park. Was it a state park? Yeah, because I remember. Yeah, she hopped the fence, and then it was like, oh, I think it was a security guard or something. Pulls up, and she's like, "It's like, what the fuck is this thing?" She never saw a car before, you know. Justice AZ says the reflection pool is a metaphor for Trumpster 2.0. Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. It pretty well encapsulates the Trump era. Josh C says, I think yesterday was Mel Brooks' 100th birthday. Wow. Jolie says, I prefer having the theater all to myself. Well, today I pretty much did. There was only there was like a family in front of me. It looked like 5 or 6 people they had or whatever in front of me, right? And then there was me. There was a few people behind me. There was probably no more than a dozen people in the theater, which I feel bad. I think Supergirl deserves to have a better box office, and that's why I think they're all this negative press, negative reviews, all the hatred about this girl's looks, has killed the movie. And I think unfairly. I mean, if you're, I know a lot of you guys, you don't like to go on a big hook and everything. You don't like going to movies. You like watching them at home, and Josh and stuff. And that's fine. But if you're a movie goer, if you're a person who likes to go to the movies, there are lots of people that still like to go to the movies, and I think it's just a shame that if this movie doesn't do well at the box office, just because of all this negativity, I just don't think it's right. I don't think it's I don't think it's merited. I don't think all this hatred for this movie is merited. I know we're all entitled to our opinions, but when I have not seen, I don't think I've seen one good review about this movie. And in my feed, I've seen probably at least a dozen different either professional critics or the YouTuber creator ones that are just schmucks like me. But it's all been negative, and that doesn't count all the shorts. And there's all the shorts where they do memes and they make they find some unflattering picture of this girl and and they say how she's ugly and she looks like the cave boy, and I just think it's not merited, man. So if you're a moviegoer and you like seeing movies in the theater, and even if you somewhat are a Supergirl, Superman fan, or a comic book fan, or just a fan of movies, I think you should give this a fair shot. If you're a moviegoer, if you're not a moviegoer, I understand, But if you're a person who likes to go to the movies and see the movies, don't let all this negativity scare you away. Because there have been far, far worse movies. This is not even close to being like the worst movie. And this is, like I say, Black Cat Red is talking about writing issues and story issues, or whatever. But still, there are movies way, way, way worse that do really big box office and that are popular. Like I think now I like Jim Carrey. I think Jim Carrey is funny as fuck. Here's another movie that I walked out on. It was one of those Pet Detective movies or whatever. Like I think the follow up, like one of the sequels back in the '90s, going back to the early '90s. Was it Pet Detective or whatever? What I don't know. It was so stupid. Watched 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes. I walked out on that one. And I like Jim Carrey. I think he's funny. I like The Mask. I like Dumb and Dumber, movies. Me, Myself, and Irene, or whatever. That was a good movie. Some of his more serious stuff I like, But some of that one, Ace Ventura. That's what I think. I think the first Ace Ventura I think I liked, or it was okay. It was funny. It might have been the sequel that I remember being in the theater and walking out. It was just too stupid. It was just too stupid. Black Cat Red keeps saying that. I guess you're talking about me, even saying someone's fucking awesome. Thank you. You're gonna make me blush. Johnny Katz, I haven't seen Atomic Blonde. Oh, dude, do you like John Wick? Do you like gladiator movies? No, do you like John Wick? If you like John Wick, then you would like Atomic Blonde. Because instead of it being Keanu Reeves, there's nothing against Keanu Reeves. He's a handsome guy. He's a handsome, good-looking guy. But who would you rather watch for 90 minutes? Keanu Reeves or Charlize Theron? I'd rather watch Charlize. Anyhow, I like Keanu. I'm not trying to bash. He's great. He's a great guy, and I like the John Wick movies and everything else. And I like the Matrix movies, and I even like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure or whatever. Big Hook says Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron was quite kick-ass with twist to the very end. Yes, it was. It was, and for the life of me, I don't know why they didn't at least make one more. I don't need, a 6, 7, picture franchise, but maybe one more. I think she's too old now because she got the shit beat out of her in real life. I mean, it was a tough. She was, getting thrown around in that. But great movie. If you like, movies with lots of fights in it. Johnny Katz, I can only think of one Quentin Tarantino movie I don't like, and that's Mr. Destiny Turns on the Radio. Now, that one, he didn't direct that, right? That was just a script of his, I think. Wasn't that with James Belushi? Or I mean Jim Belushi. Yeah, Jim Belushi, not John, I believe. And I think it was a story. I think with that money, then he wrote um, a really great film. The one with was it Christian Slater or whatever, and Rosanna Arquette. What was that one called? That was a great movie, and Gandolfini was in that movie, right? That was a great movie, and that was directed by Tony Scott, Ridley Scott's brother, the late Tony Scott, who threw himself off of the Long Beach Bridge in Long Beach in L.A. by the port. Threw himself off the fucking bridge. Poor dude. Anyhow, he made that movie, but I think that's a pretty good movie. And I think he took that money. He was getting some money in, and he was able to make Reservoir Dogs. I mean, he had producers. He found his producer and stuff like that, but he was able to still have money to get things started on Reservoir Dogs, or at least have money to live off of, so he didn't have to work at the video store anymore or whatever. Just as AZ says, I haven't been able to have popcorn for a year. Braces 64 more days. All right. I had popcorn tonight. I did buy me some popcorn. I just get a small because I don't need any more than that. Even though for 25 cents more, you can get a medium. And for 25 cents for that, you can get a large. And for another 50 cents, you can get an extra giant tub. So it makes sense monetarily to get the big tub, but I just get the small because otherwise I'll eat that entire tub that's this big. If I'm by myself, I'll eat the whole goddamn thing like a pig, and I'll get sick. So I just, even though the small is only like 25 cents cheaper than the big tub, I'll just get the small. Big Hook says Pulp Fiction renewed many an aging actor's career. Well, yeah, like Travolta, who I'm not sure was aging. I mean, of course we're all aging, but yeah, he had been sort of in a downturn of his career. Hadn't had a big hit, I guess, in the last couple of movies, and that turned his Pulp Fiction definitely turned his career back around. It was, I would say, even though Samuel L. Jackson, he had been in Jurassic Park, I guess, a couple other things, but just small little things. But certainly Pulp Fiction was a breakout for Samuel L. Jackson. Harvey Keitel, oh, that's Reservoir Dogs. Harvey Keitel was in Reservoir Dogs, but he was actually a producer on that one, I think. Well, Harvey Keitel had a small role in Pulp Fiction, but yeah, that was like a cameo, more of a thing. But yeah, it certainly did. It was a big breakout for Samuel L. Jackson, and it was a big, like you say, sort of a rebirth of Travolta's career, who had some big movies with, of course, Grease and almost said Midnight Cowboy. What's the one with what's her face? Something cowboy, right? That was a big movie. He had some big movies, and then he kind of died out for a bit there. And Pulp Fiction definitely saved his career, or turned his career around, or reignited his career, however you want to say it, I guess. Big Hook says, I love the Naked Gun movies and the airplane movies. Were just nonstop laughter. Yeah, I love those movies. Like, there's some people that would probably say those were really too stupid and too goofy, but I not for me. I liked them. Big Hook says the staircase battle was really difficult. Oh yeah. Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, she's going up these stairs. She would beat up one dude and then go. Yeah, it was a whole thing. It's an amazing movie. The stunts, and I think the stunt team that did that was the same stunt team for the John Wick movies, I believe. In fact, I think the guy who directed Atomic Blonde, I think was like the stunt coordinator for the first John Wick movie. And then that movie did so well and the stunts were so good in that, he was able to get Atomic Blonde and direct and have his stunt team do that movie. I'm pretty sure. Um, like I said, if you like John Wick or any type of like action movie, nonstop kind of action, go rent or stream Atomic Blonde, man. Yeah, Johnny Cass says 4 rooms have like everybody in it. Bruce Willis, Antonio Banderas. There were a bunch. Yeah, and I guess I think I saw it, and I remember Antonio Banderas was really good in it, but I just didn't. I don't know. It didn't. It's not like if I watch Django Unchained, I'm like, dude, this movie is fucking. Even the Hateful Eight. I haven't mentioned the Hateful Eight. A lot of people kind of hate that movie because it's kind of slow. I guess it is kind of slow and drawn out, and it all takes place pretty much in one room. And I remember as I was watching that, and we went down and saw a special screening of it. Me and my family down in Burbank on this big wide screen because the Tarantino filmed it in this big format, this big wide format or whatever. And we just loved it, but that might be the one that might be his worst movie. I don't know, but I remember watching the movie, The Hateful Eight, and I was thinking like, they could make a play. This could be a play because it's kind of like a play because it's all in one room. And I was like, I could see Tarantino or somebody doing a production of this at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion or whatever, or even on, I don't know about Broadway, but at a nice theater, not some little shack on Olive Avenue in Burbank. You know, like a nice, like Dorothy Chandler or something. I could see, um, I could see that being like a play. You could do a play of The Hateful Eight. Josh says, I'm looking up Supergirl's dress now. Are you? What do you mean? Not on my watch, Josh. Let's see. Josh says she's hot as fuck. Yeah, she's a hot chick, man. She really does the hungover party girl really good, I think, Josh C says, Big Hook, I'm sure you've seen Dracula Dead and Loving It. Is that the Nicolas Cage one? What was the Nicolas Cage one that came out a few years ago? I never did see that. I thought it looked funny and interesting, but I never did see that. I don't think that's the one you're talking about, though, I guess. Jolie says, I would rather watch Keanu Reeves all day, every day. Thank you very much. What? You don't like Charlize? Jolie? As I go to my high voice? What? You don't like Charlize Theron? Hey, I know. I got you. I get you. I got it. Keanu Reeves, yeah. It's more to your liking. Okay. Is he still doing? Are they still doing John Wick movies? The guy's in his. Is he mid-50s now? You can't do that forever, Keanu. Integrity 101 says Supergirl was absolute dog shit. The epitome of a pathetic flop. It makes Batman and Robin 1997 look like a DC masterpiece by comparison. How many poop and pee jokes do we need? What the fuck? Did you actually see the movie? because I think there was one P joke. Refresh my memory. Um, you know, I'm not the best with recollections a lot. Sometimes I need people to help me, refresh my memory. I can think of one where Crypto, or whatever his name is, peed on a newspaper, and then Supergirl goes, "Oh," she's like, "Hey, good job. You got it mostly on the newspaper." Like, okay, I remember that. Um, I don't remember. I don't remember any poo jokes. So it leads me to believe that you might not have even seen the movie. You've just heard all the negative things about it, and so you're just jumping on the bandwagon, the bandwagon of hate. Now, I might be wrong, Integrity. I might be wrong. I don't know. Big Hook, Big Hook. I like Lost Boys with Kiefer Sutherland. I like that movie. That's a good movie. Integrity 101 says, that being said, if anyone liked it, more power to you. Like like what you like, but man, I'll never watch that again. So I guess you did see it. I'm so tired of watching urination and poop jokes in every damn movie. Okay, like I said, I remember the one urination with Crypto, where he peed on a newspaper. I don't. I don't remember any poop jokes. I know she. I know. Spoiler alert. There was some. There was some vomiting. There was vomiting. I don't know if you're counting that, but that was integral to the story. The vomiting. Um, I don't remember an overabundance of pee or poo jokes for the life of me. Now, please uh, help me recollect, because I remember the one where the dog pees on the newspaper. And I remember the vomiting. I don't remember anything about poo or pooping. Oh, she did sit on the toilet. Okay, so she's all hungover. She sits down on the toilet to pee. So okay, so I guess that would be pee number two. But you don't really see her. I mean, she's off to the side, and her door's open, and you see her sit down. But I've seen other movies where they do that. Um, and I don't know if that was really a joke. Okay, so there's two. But if we're talking, okay, I'm trying to count them up. Crypto peed once, and Supergirl peed once on the toilet like a normal human being. I don't remember any poo, unless she was pooping, but I think she was peeing. I don't know. And there was some vomiting. I do remember the vomiting. Um, and there are spoilers in this. If there's new people, I see 12 watching now, so we are full blown on spoilers in this one. Big Hook says Seven was a great thriller, right up there with Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, great movie. Seven was great. Silence of the Lambs was great. I remember seeing Seven in when because I lived in Lancaster, Palmdale, in California, and a lot of those scenes where Brad Pitt and what's his face are out in the fields out there, out in the desert, and they're looking for the what's in the box, and all that shit. That was filmed right there in Lancaster, just a couple miles from where I lived. So that was kind of cool. And then Silence of the Lambs, my first wife and I, we were in Washington, D.C. on vacation, and we went to the movies somewhere in Washington, I think. I think at the mall, they have a big mall, like not the mall, like not the Washington Mall, but they have a shopping center mall that's right by the mall. I think it was there. I think we went to the theater there, really nice big theater, and we saw. I think that's where we saw Silence of the Lambs. I think, and that would be about 1989 or 90. I think we went to a bunch of movies because I think we saw that when we were on that vacation. I think we went and saw, because her dad lived there. We stayed at her dad's place for a few nights or whatever. I think we saw that was it Mel Gibson who did a Shakespeare, like was it he did a Shakespeare movie. I think it was Mel Gibson, and I remember we saw it and it was just horrible. I think that was on vacation too, which is weird. It's weird thinking you're going on vacation and seeing movies. Um, Anyhow, I don't know. I'm flashing back. I'm getting flashbacks here. Johnny Cat says, "Has anyone seen the movie Free Fire?" I don't believe so. Josh C says Dracula Dead was loving. Oh, and loving it was Mel Brooks and Leslie. Oh, okay. I remember. I don't know if I saw that. Integrity says, "Oops, looks like you enjoyed the Supergirl movie." I don't want to be a buzzkill on you. If you liked it, more power to you. I used to spend a fortune on DC films. Like I said, and you as well. You are entitled to your opinion to not like it, but I just don't really remember a bunch of poo and pee jokes. Like I said, I just remember the dog peed once on the newspaper, for the most part. Supergirl went to go take a piss, and like a girl does, and it's like you don't see anything. She's off to the side with her door open. You see her kind of plop down on the toilet, and then she like passes out because she's still all hung over and drunk from the night before. That was the thing. So she kind of passed out while she was peeing. We've all been there, right? We've all passed out while being hungover and drunk and peeing, right? We've all been there. And so there's that. Okay, so let's see. Integrity says I saw the movie. Jolie says yes. Please list all poop and pee jokes immediately. Josh says my poop joke is I'm usually sitting in the right place when I check the news in the AM. Okay, so Integrity says dog urination. Okay, we got that. Pass it out on the toilet. Okay, I said that one. Eats poop later and says tastes like shit. Oh, okay. You know what? I forgot about that one. But yeah, okay, I'll give it. But it's supposed to be like, it's a weird space thing. Apparently, they eat that shit because the thing was, it was almost like a popcorn machine or whatever. Spoilers, more spoilers. Where this big kind of snail-like looking thing stuff was coming out its ass. I guess it was poop. I guess that would be a poop joke. And then they put it almost like in a big, popcorn thing, like to eat, like a big, you know what I mean? So I guess I didn't really, and I know she said tastes like shit, and then I think she gave it to the girl or whatever. All right, so okay, so there was that. She pukes, others puke. That was the milk, right? Oh, or whatever. So anyhow, because she got the poison, she wanted to drink the milk because she said it would settle her stomach. Gunn put the same stuff in the Flash. Everyone poops, puke during fight. I didn't see the Flash. I don't think the movie Flash. I saw the TV show, the Warner or the WB one. I don't think I ever saw the Flash movie, so I don't know. Okay, so that was so I guess it was 3. A dog urination, passes out on the toilet, and then the thing where she was eating what was supposed to look like something that people would eat, or at least space aliens would eat. I don't know. Integrity says Aquaman movie. Okay, so now we're talking about Aquaman movie. Pee in mouth, pee again. Okay, these are other movies. I'm talking about Supergirl. I mean, I could probably list a whole bunch of movies where there was pee and poo or whatever, and give you, from all these different movies. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Morgan Freeman, yes, thank you. Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt were in that sort of. It didn't really look like desert. It looked like just straw or whatever. They had the big towers those big electric transmission towers. That's all in Lancaster, man. That's where I used to live. Um, but yeah, I mean, you can, like I said, we all have our own opinions and tastes and everything else. But as far as this one movie, I didn't think there was really an overabundance of pee and poo. I forgot about the thing that the creature that, because it didn't look like poo. It looked like, it looked like it was something you were supposed to eat. Anyhow, um, and then the Flash, everyone poops. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just talking about Supergirl. Justice AZ, Passion of the Christ? Question mark. I don't know. I remember that movie. I haven't referenced that movie. Um, but was that a revenge film? No, that was Willem Dafoe, right? Who played? Oh no, Passion of Christ was Mel Gibson. The Willem Dafoe one. That was the. I was thinking of the. What's his face? Movie. Yeah, Passion of the Christ. That's the Mel Gibson one. It was very bloody. The most bloodiest depiction of Christ crucifixion I've ever seen. Leave it to Mel Gibson, who directed. He didn't play Jesus. That was what's his name? Jim Caraville or whatever, who was a really good actor. I remember back in those days he did some really good movies. And now all these years later, we find out he's pretty much a MAGA, and made that. I guess I didn't see it, so maybe I shouldn't say it's stupid. But he made that movie about sex, or about trafficking, and maybe one of his daughter got kidnapped or something, and he went down to look for her. I don't know. I heard it was really talk about trashy movies. I heard that was really trashy and stupid and really racist. But I didn't see it, so I shouldn't really comment on that. Integrity, maybe not jokes, but there's way too much poop and pee in all these movies. Okay, but we're just talking about one movie. I'm not talking about a collection of movies that might have some pee and poo in it. Now, if your criticism is on James Gunn, or is that his name, and the movies he makes, and he seems to repeat that in all of his films, okay, that's one criticism. But it has nothing really to do, I don't think, with Supergirl. Because you might tell someone that, and then people are going to think, I'm not going to see that movie. It sounds stupid. It's full of pee and poo things, And there's really, it's like I say, so there's three things, and they're so spread out, and they it's just it I don't know. It didn't affect the movie. Like Jolie says, that doesn't. Now I have to see it. Yeah. See there. Big Hook says Nolan saved the DC franchise with the Batman trilogy. His movies always stand up over time. Yeah. Was it Christopher Nolan or whatever? I like that they made it made it edgier and darker, I guess, right? With Christian Bale. Those were good movies. I like those. And then I like the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. The first one, I didn't see the second one, and that got horribly panned. But I remember seeing the trailers for the second one, the second the second Joker movie, and I thought it looked awesome. And then I didn't see it, not because it got panned. It's just one of those things. I just never got around to seeing it. But people said it was like a musical. And I was like, really? Because in the trailers I saw, it didn't look like a musical. But I don't know. I know I switched from Nolan and Batman, and I switched over to Joker. But I like some of the stuff that's a little darker and not so like the Tim Burton Batman, which I like. I like Tim Burton. I like the Michael Keaton, Batman, but it's a whole different. It's like a whole different style, and it's it's a whole different thing. It's kind of like what they did with Mission Impossible, or not Mission Impossible, but I guess the James Bond, when they went to what's his name, Craig. It had been, it was a little over the top. It was kind of campy, but still, I love the Sean Connery. I love the Roger, what's his face. I love all those ones. I think, but then Pierce Brosnan, I think his final James Bond movie, that one was really kind of, at least parts of it. I remember it did get really kind of dark and edgy and really dramatic. It was different than all the other Bond films, and I think that was his last one. And they didn't go full in on that. And then they brought in, what's his face, the Craig whatever his name is, and then that was like a whole new look. And I like that too. So I like them all. Integrity says, anyway, moving on. I'm coming in late here. Can you give me a 20-second review of what you like? Well, I went into it seeing all these reviews that were all panning the film, all negative, saying that the writing was terrible, the action was terrible, the CGI was terrible. As far as the Supergirl, it was kind of mixed. Some said she was really good. She was like the one good thing about it, good performance. Other people kind of panned her, and then of course panned, and then of course there's all these memes and all this kind of hatred about her looks. People saying she's ugly. She looks like the cave boy or the wild boy in the original, I guess, Mad Max. All this thing, hatred towards her. So I remember watching it, and I'm thinking to myself, this is not anything like what I heard, what I've been hearing online about. This is not horrible. And yeah, there was little things like nitpick about certain things, but I didn't have a problem with her depiction of being trying to, I guess, escape her depression through alcohol. I didn't have a problem with the dog. There were some reviews that hate the dog. They say the dog is so annoying. I didn't find the dog annoying. I mean, yeah, he peed on the newspaper, but that's, it seemed like she was making an effort. She put newspapers out for him to pee on. I don't know. I thought the story moved well. I was a little surprised. I didn't know the whole thing was basically going to take place with her. And I guess we are doing spoilers. So with her basically being out in space and chasing after what they call them, the Riggins or whatever. But I didn't mind that. It was focused on. She wanted to get the Riggins to get the antidote for her dog. The little girl wanted to get the Riggins because she wanted revenge. What's his name? The Lobo guy, James Momoa. I don't know what the fuck. He was just some dude. He was looking for him. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not really great at reviewing, I guess, but I sat there with a smile on my face, enjoying the movie. And to me, that is a sign that I like the movie. I wasn't turned off. Like I said earlier, there are movies that turn me off, and I can't get past certain things, and it'll just ruin the movie. Either I got to leave, or I'm going to watch it and see if it gets better. But with this movie, I was enjoying the movie. I was enjoying watching the story play out. I had no issues with it at all. And there is a thing about these guys that have apparently just an all male planet or something, and so they do. I guess it's human trafficking. They take girls to make them their brides or whatever. And some people criticize that to say, "Oh, this is too heavy of a message about human trafficking or something," and they panned it for that. I didn't think it was overdone or overplayed. I thought it was fine. I don't know, man. I'm not. I guess I'm not good at explaining it. I'm not articulating very well, but I enjoyed the movie. I didn't. It's not a perfect movie. It's not a there, and we can nitpick it to death. But no really movie is perfect, and there's always going to be something you can nitpick on it. I thought it was better than the Superman movie that just came out, and people love that movie. They heap praises on that movie. They love it. They love the message. They love, you know, that I don't know. You don't kill even if you think they deserve it. I don't know. Whatever the message was to Superman, I didn't like it. I mean, not that I didn't like the message, but I just didn't. I remember sitting in that movie thinking, this is stupid. These characters are stupid. I didn't like the superheroes. I mean, Superman was okay, but I didn't like the other superheroes in the movie. I didn't like how they were trying to manipulate you into some emotions, certain emotions. I felt manipulated, and I didn't like. So I didn't like Superman. Supergirl, I just sat and I just enjoyed the ride. I just enjoyed the ride. I liked the action. I didn't see anything wrong with the CGI. Like people were complaining about the CGI was crappy. Um, people have talked about even we have people in this chat that didn't like the writing. I didn't really see any problem with the writing. I mean, like I said, it's not Tarantino level dialogue. It's not or whatever. But I don't know. I liked it. I didn't have a problem with it. Let's see. Big Hook, he went full on conspiracy theorist. Yeah, Jim Caviezel, I guess his name is. Jolie says, Passion of the Christ is the only movie that ever made me feel physically ill watching it. It was rough. I remember seeing that. It was pretty rough. Yeah, the whipping and the flogging and the whipping. Yeah, it was pretty rough. Big Hook. He was great in the series Person of Interest. Who, Jim Caviezel? Was that in there? Integrity says, also Supergirl looked terrible throughout the film. I disagree. I think she looked kind of hot, actually. I like the hungover party all night girl. I thought she looked kind of sexy, kind of hot. And then when she got out of that, she, I don't know. I didn't have a problem with it. Now, I know that I've seen some memes where they make her look like the cave boy or the wild boy or whatever, and they make fun of her. I think they exaggerate her teeth, make her look more buck teeth and with a bigger gap. And there's some really ugly memes. But look at this. I mean, you see this? Now, I know this is a publicity still poster. I'm trying to move her. But, I mean, I think she was kind of hot, man. Or not kind of. I think she's really hot. But even that, and that doesn't really matter. I mean, she's Supergirl. This is how she looks in this particular universe of the Supergirl or whatever in this story. Then that's the way she looks. Like it or leave it. I mean, she's not there to please your eyes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, boss? Integrity says not a fan of the dog, but I don't remember the dog having a big role other than the setup. Well, the dog. Okay, spoilers. We're doing spoilers. The dog, is in the beginning and is with her, and that's her pal. That's her companion. That's, like I said before. Well, you might not have been here, but that's one of her really her only link to her family and that are all dead now, except for Clark. But her planet that's destroyed and her family that's dead. The only things that she really has from that is her dog and a watch that her dad gave her, a pocket watch type of a thing. It looked like a magic watch, but or a fancy one. That's all she had, and so she really loved that dog, man, because that's from home. And then the dog gets poisoned. Spoiler alert. And then so for her quest is to get the antidote because there was an antidote. She had 72 hours to do it. See, spoiler alert, guys, spoiler alert. She's got 72 hours to save her dog. Plus, she's got this kid coming with her who wants revenge because it's the same people that hurt her dog as the ones that killed her family. Spoiler alerts, guys. I know this is spoilers. I'm sorry, but spoilers. I mean, and then so for almost the rest of the whole movie, the dog is they left her with that alien witch doctor lady or whatever, and so you didn't really see the dog that much until the end, when he may or may not have been saved. I'm not gonna spoil out. The 72 hours might have ran out. Okay, I'm just saying, just so, just give you a reason to still go see the movie. Jolie says, "Hold up, Jason Momoa is in it." Yes, yeah. Now he looks kind of fat in the movie. I don't know if that was a big rubber suit or if he's just let himself go a little bit. I'm not sure, but still, Jason Momoa, and he does the physical action, and he's funny, and everything else. So, and he looks like, and I think it was kind of an apt description. One of the reviewers would call him like a blown up Beetlejuice. So I can see a little of that, but I think I had no problem with him. Integrity 101 says, if you were entertained by the movie, that's all that matters. You don't need to be a professional reviewer. Just be real. If you enjoyed it, that's great. Who cares what some jerk like me says? Well, the thing is, like I said, you're entitled to your opinion. You can love the movie. You can hate the movie. You can be meh about the movie, whatever. I just didn't. There was something that just seemed suspect to me about, and I keep pointing over here because this is where my TV is over here. And for the last few days, all I have seen is just hate, no love for this movie whatsoever. It's just been hate, and it's not, and they're saying it's a bomb. It has at the box office. I guess it bombed, and it's just, and I can't help but think it's because of all this hatred for this movie, and I don't know if I've seen this much hatred for one movie, like where it's almost like uniform, like across the board, like everything I've seen about this movie has been it's been negative, very, very negative. And so like I say, you're entitled to your opinion, but something just seems off that it's almost unanimous with these reviewers and other people. And I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. And then I had to go see the movie for myself. That's why I said, okay, I'm going to go see the movie and find out for myself. And that's when I was watching the movie, I'm going, I don't see what's wrong with this movie. And like I said, it's not perfect, that you can nitpick some certain plot points or whatever, but I don't think it doesn't deserve the hate that it's getting. It doesn't deserve the hate. It's not that bad of a movie. And like I said, I think it's better than the Superman movie. And the Superman movie made like $1 billion. And everyone loved it because it was a metaphor, basically, or whatever, about Gaza in a lot of ways. I think people were like, oh God, we must like this movie because we hate genocide. So we must like Superman. If I don't like Superman, that means I'm pro-genocide. I think I really do. I'm sincere when I really think that's why there was so much love for Superman. I don't like genocide, but I also didn't like Superman. But Supergirl, I really liked. Like I say, it's not the best movie in the world. Out of all the movies I've seen in my lifetime, I'm not even sure if it would make my top 100. I don't know. I mean, that's who knows. That would take a lot to sit down and figure out like what's my top 100. I don't even know because my top 10 is probably going to be all Tarantino movies. So I don't know. Integrity says I didn't notice bad CGI. I didn't either. But one of the reviewers, or no, two of the reviewers that I saw were saying how shitty the CGI was. Um, Josh says I have 100 movies. Talking about 100 movies. Josh C says I have 100 movies I'd probably watch, but if my wife or kid are watching, I might sit down for the duration. Are you one of those people that stands up when you watch a movie? Remember those commercials? Wasn't there a commercial about the guy that would always stand up watching the movie? Anyhow, Big Hook says Christopher Reeve set a super high bar for anyone trying to pull off Superman. Yeah, Christopher Reeve was great. I thought he was sort of like, you know, the what do you call it? Not the epitome, but you know. And I always thought it was interesting how his name is Christopher Reeve, and the guy who played it on the old TV show wasn't it George Reeve or was it Reeves? And they weren't related. But yeah, Christopher Reeve, is it Reeve or Reeves? Was really good. But I think they've had some good ones. Who was the guy? You know, the guy with the real muscle bound guy, the one probably before this guy. And I think the guy who just did it in the last one was. I think he's really good too. I think he's a good Superman. I just didn't really like the movie. Julie says, if that's the case, you would have thought it was totally hot a couple days ago. Oh, did I miss some? I must be mid thread on that one. So Hunter Iggy, I hope they cast Meg Donnelly as Galati in the DCU. I don't know who Meg Donnelly. I don't think I know who Meg Donnelly is. Jolie, Trucker John's original short film. Oh, you put that in there. Thank you. I have a short film, guys. It's called Feet on the Dashboard. I made it in 2012. It's I think 8.5 minute long. If you want to check it out, it's not going to take up your whole evening. The plan with that movie was at the time I wanted to make some short films, and then try to make some feature films. I did have some friends, I became friends with these people that had a little production company, just a real indie, cheap. You know, I mean, we did everything on the cheap, and they, you know, that was the plan, was to make some shorts and then make some longer films. But I only did the one, and because I just couldn't take the time. I was doing truck driving and doing the movie, and my kids were young and had to help support them and keep them fed and clothed, and I just had to go back to, you know, more truck driving. So Big Hook, but you want to check it out? There it is. It's like 8 minutes long, and it's not perfect either. It's not. That's not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination. Big Hook says the Marvel Universe has not disappointed too much. Looking forward to the RDJ in the Doctor Doom role. Spider-Man is supposed to be another summer blockbuster. Who's RDJ? Roger Dangerfield? No. Integrity 101 says, I definitely understand the hate. I personally think some of the comic book diehards have completely lost touch with what general audiences like. I see nothing in this movie for general audiences. I'm not a big comic book reader. I haven't really read since as an adult. I've read maybe a few comic books here and there. But when I was a kid, I would read comic books back in the late '60s and early '70s, mid '70s. I was reading Spider-Man. My favorite one was Spider-Man, Thor, the Incredible Hulk, um, and then the Army ones. I liked like Sergeant. They had Sergeant Fury. They had, was it Sergeant Hulk or something like that? I remember reading these, and then there was these ones like GI Combat. I really liked the Army ones. I had a bunch of those. But as far as like superheroes, my favorite was Spider-Man, and I had a bunch of those, and I read those. And then Thor and Incredible Hulk. Those are my three favorite. I never really got into Batman or Superman. I remember just watching Batman on TV, the old Adam West show. I think I read some Batman comics and a few Supermans, but I never really got into it. You know, I like Spider-Man better. But as far as this movie, from my understanding, is that Supergirl in the comics is very sort of depressed and angry and bitter about losing her family and her planet, and doesn't take to Earth like Clark does, because Clark came here when he was a baby, and so for Clark, Earth is like home to him. His family that raised him that's like his family. They're like his parent. They are his parents. And so Supergirl was older, and she still has all the memories of her planet and her family and everything. So my understanding is in the comic books, she is not so nice. She's not so nice. Like Clark, who tries to not kill people or whatever, and she's kind of the opposite of that. And I think the movie depicted that pretty well. You know, she is kind of, not that she's evil, not like she's, what's the evils that was in the first movie? What was the evil Superman or whatever? She, not that she's like a complete opposite, but she's evil. She's still good, and she wants to help and do good, and she wants to, you know, capture bad guys or whatever. But she doesn't have maybe the hesitancy to, if she has to use lethal force or whatever, like Clark does. So that, you know, there are differences, and I think the movie kind of showed that pretty well. Spoilers, guys, spoilers. Big Hook says Daredevil hasn't disappointed, and The Punisher were great Netflix series. I really like the Netflix series. I like Daredevil. I really like Daredevil. I really like Punisher. Those were really great. I remember, what was it, Jessica Jones, I thought was really good. And then what was the other one? Luke Cage?
Okay, I think we're back. Can you guys hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay, I think we're back.
Okay, so I guess you can hear me. I didn't have to start a completely whole new one. I thought I was going to have to do a complete. Now I don't have the mic. And it might go out again. We're down to 1%. The thing is, when I started, I think I was only at 80%. And then I had to unplug off the charger in order to plug in the USB receiver. And I forgot, because usually I start with, like 100%, and I can usually go, over 3 hours. But I guess you guys can hear me okay. Now you're probably hearing the air conditioner and everything else, because I'm just using the mic from the phone. Anyhow, we're back. Yeah, that was a rather abrupt stop. Let me know if it's too much noise or whatever, or not noisy enough. I forget what we were talking about. I was talking about something. I guess Netflix series. I like those shows. I like The Punisher and Daredevil. I think that's where I left off. Anyhow, I'll just pick up here. Big Hook says the Supergirl and Flash series filmed here in Vancouver, BC were great. The Arrow was also great, Vancouver. Yeah, I liked all those. I watched The Arrow. I watched Daredevil and Supergirl. I liked them. I thought they were good. I liked the Arrow. I thought the Arrow was really. I mean, the shows, they all kind of jumped the shark after, after a little bit. Josh says TJ needs a dongle that allows for more. Yeah, I know. We talked about that before. I have dongles, but I don't think I have a splitter dongle. I need to look through my stuff. I have stuff. I have boxes of stuff. Let's see. I might have something in here. Let's see here. Here's a box. I mean, a bag. This is a bag full of, charging cords, USB to USB lightning cable, an old phone, an old iPod is in here. I don't think I have a splitter. I think what I need is a splitter. But this is my bag of old wires and shit. Charger thingies. Yeah, but I don't think I have I need a splitter, right? Maybe. And I'm not even sure if that would work, to tell the truth. But anyhow. All right, guys. But you guys can hear me, right? You guys can hear me? Justice is buffering. Are you guys still buffering? Or is anyone buffering? Because restart and plug in your phone. We're at 5%, so at least we're going the right direction. Because in that little bit of time that it was off, it went from 0 to 10%, and then as soon as I started the show back up, it went right down to 1%. But now it's back up to 5%, so we're going in the right direction. Alrighty. It's, oh my gosh, it's 1:30 a.m. I'm staying up as late as Tommy over there on Political Punk. I just totally lost track of time. See, that's the thing, talking to you guys, when I do this on the morning show, it's the same way. 2 or 3 hours just flies. And when did they start? Because now with the new start, it's showing 5 minutes. I don't know what the old one was. Probably a couple hours though, huh? What time did I get home? So let's see, that would be 12:30, 11:30, maybe longer, because Liberal Dan was on, and then he went off, and then I came on in a few minutes, like 10 minutes later. How long have I been on here, man? I didn't even realize it was 1:36 in the morning. And for you guys back east, it's freaking, what is it, 4:38, Jolie? Am I keeping you up all night? Up all night. Boomtown Rats. You guys remember that song? But anyhow, yeah, I like the Arrow. But it kind of jumped the shark. Like I said, all those shows kind of jumped the shark after like season 3 or 4 or whatever. But I still watched them all just to, because I'm invested. Josh, she says, my wife and daughter love the Arrow series. I think the Arrow had probably the best fight choreography. Better than Daredevil, better than Supergirl. I think the Arrow had definitely the best fight choreography. Big Hook, The Boys is also filmed in Vancouver. There's a lot of shows up there, up in Vancouver. I like The Boys. They ended the show. It's over now. I liked it. It was a good show. It kind of jumped the shark too a little bit, but I still liked it. Josh says, now I'm trying to think about shitty movies. Big Hook, Lost in Space, but also another Vancouver. You talking about the new one, like the newer one? I like that too. Did they cancel that? I guess because I remember I liked that. It was pretty cool. The new one. I remember seeing a couple of seasons of that. Big Hook says it's fine. We can see and hear you. Integrity says, quick everyone, unsubscribe just to mess with them. What happened to my subscribers? Josh says, TJ's in a dongle. Yeah, I don't know if it would work, though. It probably would, huh? I'm just looking at the phone. I'm trying to think. Yeah, you would have it come out. It would split, so I would need it to have two of the lightning cables, I guess, that plug in. Anyhow. Big Hook, does your phone do wireless charging? Yeah, I guess so. But then I don't know how I would get a wireless charger up on the, because I'm using the camera to do the show. Oh, like if it had, do they have wireless charging? I don't think it does. It's a 14 Pro Max. i14 Pro Max. I don't know if it has. I was thinking about how you just set it on a pad. You can set it on a pad. Is that what you're thinking? Is that what you're talking about? Big Hook, Liberal Dan went on. Yeah, he was doing a test. He was testing. He had his new equipment. I guess he broke down and got a new laptop. And maybe some other stuff. I don't know. So he wasn't on for very long. It was like 20 minutes, and he was just testing his new gear. Josh, 438. Yeah, look at you guys. I should probably, call it a night, I guess. Jolie says, but I'm also playing a game. Integrity 101 says, I assumed you were mostly a movie channel. Looks like you cover all kinds of... Yeah, I kind of don't do what they suggest you do. They suggest that you pick one thing. Like if you want to be in politics, then just do politics. If you want to do travel stuff, just do travel stuff. If you want to, do hotel and restaurant reviews, just do that, But I'm a rule breaker. I just don't do that. Because they say, like if I'm doing let's say someone likes me because they like the movie thing, or because I used to do a lot of trucking videos because I was a trucker, and I would do over the road stuff and do stuff from out over the road, or I would, and I would do stuff from hotels, or I would do stuff from Vegas on the Strip. And they say, you shouldn't talk about politics because you're going to alienate probably half of your audience, because like half of them are going to like your politics and the other half are going to hate your politics. And so you should never really, unless you're a political show, then you should never really talk politics. But I do it. I just can't help myself, man. And so I know there's lots of people that think, oh, he's a trucker, and I want to check out the trucker channel. And then they hear my politics, and they're like, fuck you, I don't want to hear this trucker, So I'm probably my own worst enemy. Because I don't stick to one thing. And this Supergirl thing was a total impromptu. I usually don't come on at Sunday night. And this was just a fluky thing, I guess. Or, like I say, impromptu. Big Hook, your phone is wireless chargeable. Okay. So how does that work? Like, I know you can set it on like a charging pad. so you don't have to plug it in, right? I don't know how, if I could put a charging pad up on this camera stand. I don't know. I guess you could. I don't know. Integrity 101 says, screw that, do what you're passionate. Well, that's kind of how I feel. Just, so what? Maybe I'll never get 100,000 subscribers or 1,000,000 subscribers or whatever, but I guess I just got to do my thing. It's kind of just, the channel really is just my life, you know. And I've got stuff. I got evicted from my apartment over a year ago. That was on the channel. Me not having a car and having to ride the bus, I put that on the channel, you know. I mean, I've kind of put everything, whatever's going on in my life, I kind of just put it on the channel, you know. And I don't know what your politics are, but, you know, there are certain people in politics that I don't like, and I don't like what's going on, then I'll say it, and you know, and it might turn off some people because they don't agree with my views, and they don't want to hear someone else's views, or they go against theirs, I guess. But it's a little bit of everything. I do shows Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time and Saturdays at 11. I used to go on pretty much 6 days a week, and I cut back, and I just do the 3. And I do start off that show. I do like what I call an intro, and I play all these clips, and they're almost all pretty much political stuff, whatever Trump's doing or whatever's going on with the war, or you know, there's all kinds of political stuff. And then when the show starts, a lot of times the show, it's not even political. We'll just talk about whatever the chat room feels like talking about, you know. So I guess it's unique in that way, but, you know, it is what it is. And I'm glad you're here, Integrity. Like I said, it's good to have you. We've had some new people here. I don't know if you've subscribed, but if you like the show and if you consider subscribing, that would be great. I know we had another new subscriber today with who may have gone to bed by now. What was it, Red Cred? But yeah, I'm always trying to get subscribers. But we do have a bit of a goal. I'm at 4,500. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers, and I've got a bottle of Hennessy in my cupboard, and I've promised everyone that I will crack that open and drink that Hennessy on a live stream if we hit the 5,000. And it's what I like to call 5K Hennessy Day. But that, you know, we're just all over the place. Like I said, I'm probably my own worst enemy as far as trying to go, if I want big numbers, and because I can kind of turn off people, you know. I know I've lost people because of my viewpoints or whatever, but maybe I've also gained people because of my viewpoints. Most of you guys that stick around, it's probably because we're kind of more like-minded than anything. Josh says, oh yeah, this is daily variety and honest discussion. Big Hook says you could attach a pad to the back and charge while broadcasting. Yeah, I guess I would. Yeah, maybe get some duct tape or what. I could figure. I guess I could figure it out. How to do that with my the way it clamps down on the phone. I don't know if it would hold. Yeah, I would have. Yeah, it's probably not impossible. Figure something out. Big Hook says everyone liberal is fighting for the same audience. Integrity hits both sides equally. Yeah, that's a shame, because I'm not trying to have a, you know, I'm not trying to get into a debate with you, but I don't think both sides are equal. And that's one of the things we always hear that both sides are the same or they're both equally bad, and I don't really believe that. But you know, Big Hook says it's a huge contest for the eyeballs and comments along with memberships. Yeah, it's a pretty crowded field. Integrity 101 subbed already. Oh, thank you. We disagree, and that's what makes it interesting. Plus, I was busting maybe your stones already, and you didn't ban me. You know what? Hey, Sharky, there's Sharky. Oh, yeah, Sharky just came in when the thing went out. You said you were in the hospital or something? I didn't mean to ignore you, but that's when the battery died. You're in the hospital with an inflamed stomach and liver, feeling terrible. They might keep me in for a few days. The NHS is a marvelous institution, non-judgmental care, and free. Sharky, man, I hope you get well soon. We're all pulling for you. Get well soon, my friend. And yeah, I hope that NHS, hope they do you good. I hope they treat you right, man. So yeah, all of our positive thoughts of healing going out to Sharky. And thank you. There's a super sticker chat for £199. So big thumbs up to NHS. Best thing we created. $195. Thank you, Sharky. I appreciate it. I hope you get better soon. I hope you're feeling better soon. But thank you for subbing, Integrity. I do appreciate you. We don't really ban people for just having different opinions. It's if you get into like hate speech, you know, that kind of stuff, or just putting out just blatant, I guess, false information or something. I don't know. Jolie's my bond, and Jolie helps me with that. But I didn't see any hate speech from you, and you're entitled. If you don't like Supergirl, and you think there's too much pee and poo stuff, then you're that's fine. And we went over it. You know, and we went over that, so that was fine. Integrity says, I think we have a uniparty, and the difference are pure theater. Basically, the parties play good cop, bad cop. But that's a discussion for another day. And during the week, I have been expressing, because I'm a Democrat. That's just it. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I've never voted for a Republican in my life. I've never liked the Republican Party, and I've always liked the Democratic Party. But I have been a little critical of them lately because, or maybe even not so lately, because I don't like these stick in the muds. Is that a good way of saying it? Who are either against or they're just beholden to their. I guess maybe we should save Tuesday for politics, but they are beholden to their big campaign donors and they're not progressing as much as I would like, and it is frustrating. But let's save that for Tuesday. If you want to come back on Tuesday, I don't know what your schedule is like. Look at that, Josh sees $10. Thank you so much. I didn't even set a goal tonight. Thank you, Josh sees $10. Yippee going out. Did I give you guys your yippies? Sharky gets a yippee, and Josh. I guess that was that it? I guess that was it. But thank you guys so much. But yeah, we'll save the politics for Tuesday if you want to come back, because I don't want to be like all, debatey. I don't want to get debatey. Big Hook says Substack is a pretty competitive environment for new content creators and either editorial. I'm going to start. I've been threatening to do this, and I haven't done it yet. But I'm going to start writing some articles on Substack, because as you guys know, I'm looking over at my plaque. I don't feel like getting up to pick it up. But as you guys know, I am an award-winning writer. Very prestigious award that I won in 1997. So I am thinking about writing some articles on Substack. Let's see where it goes. So if you guys are on Substack, I don't know. I don't have the link. I don't think I have, but if you go to Substack and you can I think you just search, I think it's Trucker John again, right? I think I put almost everything on Trucker John. if you go to Substack, I haven't published anything yet. I did write something like months ago saying I was going to start posting articles, and I still haven't done it yet. But at some point I will, but maybe within the next day or two. Speaking of since Big Hooks brought up Substack, it reminded me I want to start writing some articles on Substack. And who knows? Maybe that'll be the thing that takes me to the next level. I don't know. Integrity 101, thumbs up. Jolie with the yippies, yes. Yippee, yippee, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Speaking of Bruce Willis, speaking of my top movies, it's hard to put together a list because whenever I watch any Tarantino movie, then I'm like, this is my new favorite movie, or not my new favorite movie, but like this is the greatest movie. But Die Hard, the original Die Hard, I really don't like the sequels all that much for Die Hard, but the first Die Hard, I've got to put that in my top 5. Somehow I got to wiggle that into the top 5, you know. I love Die Hard. I love all the Tarantino movies. But there's a bunch of other movies I love too. So I don't know if I could ever put a list of my favorite movies. I would have to look at all the movies ever made and then have some sort of rating system or ranking system and do like a playoff system or something in order to whittle it down to get my top 10 or 20. I don't even know. All I know is I love Tarantino movies and I love Die Hard. And I love Red Dawn, the original Red Dawn. I got to put. See, there's not enough spaces in my top 10 to put. But I got to put Red Dawn in my top 10. But I think I'm out of room. Between what is there 8 Tarantinos? How many movies? Or 9? I could probably move Hateful Eight out of the top 10. Make room for Red Dawn. I don't know. Josh C says Substack should be about sandwiches and Instagram should be about the weed delivery. That's funny. Integrity 101 says, have you seen Gran Torino? I did see Gran Torino. I like that. Yeah, that's a great... I guess I would say it's great. The reason I say I think is because I think I saw it once when it came out. So I don't, but I remember I really liked it. I thought it was really good. I'm not sure if it was great or not. Did that win, or was that nominated for stuff? I think that was a nominated movie, wasn't it? Or it got a lot of good, press and everything. Gran Torino, yeah. Yeah, I liked it. I probably haven't seen it since it came out, so. And my memory is kind of fucked up, so. Jolie, hey, there's the link to my Substack. Thank you, Jolie. Jolie's just on the ball, man. On the ball. Like I said, I'll probably start, hopefully, putting some articles out. Integrity 101, Drive. Oh, I love Drive. Wait, 2011. Has it been that long? Ryan Gosling is one of my favorite films. I love Drive. See, I would love to put that in my top 10. I think my top 10 needs to have like 30 movies in it. Can there be ties? Maybe there's a lot of ties. And the thing is, did you ever see Bullet with Steve McQueen? Drive, even though it's a different story, the stories aren't the same, but it reminded me so much of Bullet. I guess the driving scenes, and even they're not the same. They're not the same. But when I remember watching Drive and going, man, this reminds me of Bullet. And Bullet, I love Bullet. And I love Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen, the coolest actor that there's ever been. And so, like, if I were to do, like, I guess, different categories and make up, like, cool car chase scene movies, I've got to put probably Bullet number 1, Drive number 2. And then look through all the list of movies to remind me about all the other car chase movies that were cool. Like French Connection or something. I don't know. But Yeah, Drive was a really cool movie. Gritty, this kind of crime, the crime mob element with the driving. The driving is really the cool part. And Ryan Gosling was cool. He played the kind of the stoic, silent, guy. I don't know if you call him an anti-hero, but yeah, it was Drive is a great movie. Josh says, haha, Jolie, putting the pressure. Yeah, now I gotta go write some shit. Integrity says, yes, I saw Bullet, American History X. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Absolutely. With, what's his face, The guy who played the Incredible Hulk and was it one movie? And then they changed him out. Integrity. Sorry, now I'm just thinking of my favorite films. Well, I love. You got a good list. Drive, I think, was great. History of American X is great. Gran Torino was great. I just remember certain scenes of that, and it was Clint, of course, as an older guy, but still kind of doing the Clint thing, Big Hook, Clint Eastwood movies always do well. I going back to the spaghetti westerns, I love those. I love the Outlaw Josie Wells. I would have, if my top 10, like I said, if it could hold 30 or 40 movies, how could I not put the Outlaw Josie Wells in my top 10? There's gonna have to be a lot of ties. The Outlaw Josie Wells has got to be a top 10. I mean, that's a great movie. That's not just a great Clint Eastwood movie, but a great movie. Not just a great Western. Integrity 101, Bullet, definitely best car chase in a movie. Yeah, because let's face it, Bullet really was the best parts about it were the car chase. And Steve McQueen, just because he's cool. But the story was a little wonky. But still, it was cool. Edward Norton, there you go. That's the guy, yeah. Big Hook isn't Baby Driver, I like that. Also supposed to be a great, yes. Baby Driver, very good pull there, Big Hook. I like Baby Driver. They were supposed to make a sequel, and they never have. I don't know if they ever will. Maybe they were actually, spoiler alert, here's a spoiler alert. I think the main character goes to prison, if I'm not mistaken, for 5 years. Has it been 5 years since that movie came out? Maybe they're going to do like real time, like wait for the movie to put it out, and like I don't know. But anyhow, that was a really good movie. I like, especially the car driving was really good, and it was a cool story too. I like Baby Driver. Integrity 101, The Departed, probably my favorite mob movie. Now, The Departed, I actually didn't like that. I mean, as well. I mean, it did get a lot of positive reviews, and I think it was nominated. Maybe it won some Oscars, I guess. Scorsese, right, and De Niro, and again, and Matt Damon, and a big cast, Mark Wahlberg. I like, it was a good movie, but I don't know. Great. I mean, it's your favorite mob movie, but my favorite mob movie, I like, The Godfather 1 and 2. That's their go-to, right? That's like a go-to. I'm trying to think, because I like a lot of the mob movies. I like the Bonnie and Clyde, with Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty. Johnny Depp, didn't he make that one about John Dillinger, where he paid Dillinger? I think that was pretty good. You know what mob movie I really liked? the one with Tom Hanks and Paul Newman and the guy who became James Bond. What was that called? Like Paraclete, the Road to Perdition. Yes, I really like that. And maybe that's not like a traditional mob movie, but they were in the mob, and it was about mob stuff. I really love that movie. That was a great movie. I remember seeing that in the theater, in a packed theater. Josh says, I'm going to go back to thinking about bad movies. Big Hook says, is Nicholson retired finally? I think so. He hasn't done anything for a while, and I think he's really old. And I think I think he might have some dementia or something. I think he's retired, and I don't know if he's in his 90s now, or at least mid to late 80s. Pretty sure he's retired. He hasn't done anything for a while, and I think Jeremiah Johnson, rest in peace, Robert Redford. I love Jeremiah Johnson too. I saw that. I remember, 1972 or 3. I saw that when I was a kid. I thought that was a great movie. I thought that was really cool. Because I remember I think I was studying about frontiersmen at that time. Various frontiersmen, and I think. Was Jedediah? What was the character? Was that a real character or based on? Because I remember reading about Jedediah Smith, and I really like Jedediah. I just remember reading about Jedediah Smith in like 6th grade or something, or maybe 7th grade. And that's when, and this I think this character in Jeremiah Johnson. I don't think he was real, but it might have been. He might have been a real character. But it just reminded me of Jedediah Smith. I think it's Jedediah Smith. Anyway, I really like that movie. It's a great movie. The Natural, that's a good movie. I like The Sting. I think I really like The Sting better than like The Natural's a good movie. It's good, but and I know it's supposed to be sort of fantastical, if that's a movie, if that's a term. I think I like The Sting. I like the Robert Redford, Paul Newman pairings. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. That's a great, that deserves to be in my top 10. But I don't got room. I don't have enough room. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is a great movie. It's a great fucking movie. Integrity, Godfather, Goodfellas. Oh yeah, Goodfellas, Scarface. Yeah, all those Godfather is what's his face? But Goodfellas. I like Goodfellas better than Scarface. Goodfellas is that's a classic. Casino's good. Integrity says that was great. Road to Perdition. Yeah, there's just something about it because it was kind of a slow movie. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of, as I recall, there really wasn't a whole lot of like mobster shit. It was kind of a slow movie, but I think it was because there was that climactic scene. Spoilers. By the way, this is a full spoiler show. But, there was that sort of climactic scene where, in the street, and Tom Hanks' character, he knows, like, they're coming after him, and he's got to take out the boss and take out, and there was just something about that scene. I remember the theater was completely packed. There was not an open seat. And I remember during that scene, you could hear a pin drop. Like that street scene, and you knew some shit was about to happen. The shit was about to go down. You could hear a pin drop, There was that's what's great about seeing a movie in a theater. You have this shared experience, and everyone is kind of on the seat of their pants, or they're anticipating this big moment, Maybe that's the only reason I like the movie. I don't know, but it was. I just remember, and then I remember seeing it a couple times afterwards, like renting it or whatever, and watching it. So I like that one. It was a great movie, and kind of a departure from Tom Hanks, who had been doing like Forrest Gump, you know, and what else did he do? Other than Forrest Gump, he hasn't made anything. No, it was back to back. Oh, Philadelphia. So he did. Yeah, remember back to back. Best actor. Wasn't best actor for Forrest Gump, right? And then also for Philadelphia. And but you know, Tom Hanks. He's always played sort of, you know, goody two shoes or whatever, or this innocent Forrest Gump. And then Road to Perdition. He's like a hitman, you know. So that was good. Integrity. Nicholson's like 114. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's that old, but he's been out of the public, you know, limelight or the public for what, 10 years now, probably. Because I just think his health probably, like his mental, or like, you know, the mental health or whatever was probably going down. Big Hook, my cousin Vinny was great. Yeah, that's a great one. I like it. It was funny. Pesci is funny. And what's her face? The cute little gal. She was hilarious. Integrity, you're right. Die Hard has to be top 5 action film. I'd probably throw in RoboCop and The Terminator to round out my top 3. I think definitely Terminator. RoboCop's good. That's good. I like RoboCop. I'm not sure if I put that in my top 3, but Die Hard. I love Die Hard. That's one of my all-time favorites. Terminator. I think Terminator 1 and 2. Terminator 2 was a pretty good follow-up. You know, and the franchise it's a good franchise. I know what was it, a few years ago, or maybe it's been more than that. Time flies, but I think the last one that Schwarzenegger did got pretty much panned. But I still liked it. You know me, I like Supergirl. So, but I still liked it. But I do see. I mean, at least I saw where people were sort of panning it or whatever. But I still kind of liked it. But Terminator 1 and 2, I think, are pretty solid. Terminator 2 is a pretty solid sequel. I think it might be better than the first one, but maybe based on production value. But the first one is iconic. You know, it's so iconic. Big Hook. Sneakers was a great Robert Redford, Sidney Poitier. Yeah, I remember that one. That was a good movie. Integrity says tough to make top 10 list. Best one could probably do is top 5 per genre. Yeah, that's true. Josh C says shared experience is a thing. I think so. I'm going to make sure we got battery. We're up to 30% battery. So that's good. We're going in the right direction. Big Hook, The Jackal with Poitier, Willis, and Gere. Poitier was in The Jackal? I remember The Jackal. And wasn't Bruce Willis The Jackal? Spoiler alert. And was Gere the one going after him? Richard Gere? I don't even remember Poitier. See, my brain's fucked up. Sharky says Shawshank Redemption is a great movie. Yeah, it is. That is a great movie. Probably would you guys say that is probably the best Stephen King adaptation? Because so many of his movies have been, adapted, and his books have been adapted to movies, and they almost never, because I used to read a lot of Stephen King books, and they never live up to the book. I think Shawshank, which didn't he write that under a different pseudonym? I'm trying to think. Christina, I guess, is okay. I didn't like the Watchtower one they made. It was so flimsy. I read that entire Watchtower series, and I love that. there's a great series of books, those Watchtower ones, or whatever it was called. I might be saying it wrong because Watchtower sounds like Jehovah's Witnesses. Black Tower, the Land in Black, you know, whatever. I see my brain's fucked up, but great books. But then they made the one with Matthew McConaughey. I think they only made one, right? And it was like a 90-minute little, looked like made-for-TV movie. They really fucked that one up. Josh C's favorite Arnold movie would probably be Terminator, I think. Terminator 1. I don't know. Let's see. He's made a good... I like Arnold movies. Good action. Good action star. Funny. You know, he's got the good timing. I guess Commando was really good. What's the one, the space one that comes down? That's a good one. With the invisible space monster that kills everybody. That's a good one. That might be my favorite. I think Terminator 1's my favorite. Probably. Big Hook, Blazing Saddles. Very funny. Very funny movie. Hey, Joy to Farm to. Hey, there's Joy. Hey, good to see you. It's 2:15 a.m. I'm probably going to have to sign off pretty soon. Joy says, I rarely go to the movies. Those comfy seats make the perfect nap for me. I can sleep through any kind of movie. Thought this was strange to see it live now until I realized time difference. Are you back east too? Is the sun almost coming up for you? Integrity 101, Shawshank was great. Or great call. Josh C says Big Hook, Blazing Saddles, or History of the World. I like Blazing Saddles better. That's when Mel Brooks was like in his prime, movie wise, I think. History of the World. I think my favorite Mel Brooks movies though is probably Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles. Those are probably my two favorites of his. Big Hit, True Lies, Predator, or The Terminator are solid choices. Oh, True Lies, that's a great movie. That's a really good movie. That's a good one. But they're, you know, it is like a different genre. Predator, yeah, Predator. That's the invisible space monster. Predator's really good. Terminator, yeah. I think I would probably, if I had to choose one, it would probably be Terminator 1. You know, I guess, I don't know. Integrity 101 says, Arnold for me is the Terminator. Predator and T2. T2 is great, but it's basically a remake of T1. For me, I'd rather watch him as a bad Terminator. Plus, Michael Biehn is better than Edward Furlong. Yeah, Michael Biehn was really good. I think that's probably the first time I ever saw him in a movie. But, yeah, he was really good. You know, great role. Perfect role for him, and he did it really great, you know. Yeah. And Sarah, what's her name? She was good. Yeah, the great cast. You know, James Cameron. I think that was his first movie, or at least his first feature, and had a low budget, pretty low budget, even for the time there, and just made a classic, iconic movie. You know, Edward Furlong. Okay, he's playing the kid, right? He's playing, and is what it is. Sharky the Dark Man, Liam Neeson, anti-hero. Oh yeah, that's a different movie. I was thinking of the. I read the whole series. Is it called the Watchtower series or whatever? Integrity 101 says Stallone, for me it's Rocky, Rambo 4, yes, the fourth one, and Copland. Copland is a good movie. Could we put that in our mob movies, even though it's sort of like Bad Cops? Maybe our bad cop genre could be like, what, Serpico and Copland. Okay, it's a genre of two. But Stallone, you see, Rocky is that's iconic. It is so iconic. But I do love the franchise. I love the Rocky franchise, and I love the Rambo franchise. And I think Stallone has made some other good movies. I didn't like Tango and Cash, I guess, or whatever we talked about earlier. He's made a few, shitty movies, but yeah, I really, the Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, that's another one, it has a good follow-up. It kind of gets a little weaker as you go through it. Rocky 4, was that the one with Tommy, what's his name? The real boxer? Tommy somebody. Was Rocky 3 the one with Mr. T? They're all good movies, but I think Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, that's a great companion, like 1-2 punch, so to speak. No pun intended. Maybe it was. And Rambo, it's kind of funny because when I think of Rambo, I kind of think of Rambo 2 as the iconic kind of Rambo, Stallone as Rambo. Because the first one was just him up in the Pacific Northwest, getting chased out of town by these redneck cops, sheriffs or whatever, but doing the Rambo thing. So it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool that it started from that, where he was this Vietnam veteran. He was just trying to do his own thing, and they wouldn't leave him alone. They fucked around and found out, And then Rambo 2 is like full on, I'm going back to Vietnam and I'm going to get these POWs or whatever. So, yeah, I like Rambo 1 and 2. I like Rocky 1 and 2. It's hard to kind of separate those. They're very iconic in their own ways, and very... If Stallone didn't ever make any other movies besides Rocky 1 and 2 and Rambo 1 and 2, as far as I'm concerned, he would be a great, one of the GOATs of all time as far as Hollywood stars and having an iconic role. And, the Darkman, Integrity, I remember seeing Darkman. Yeah, that was the Liam Neeson one, I think. Integrity mob movies, then crooked cop movies make 2. I like Cliffhanger. Yeah, Cliffhanger is good, but it's not Rambo and it's not Rocky. But yeah, I mean it was okay. Druida Farm says I am in Kansas, so after 4 wanted to get some outside work done before heat hits. Not Vegas temps, but expecting upper 90s all week combined with humidity. Well, that's what gets you is the humidity. Right now, we've had temperatures just up in the upper 90s. In the previous few weeks, we were 105, 108. So it's been really nice. Like today, when I went to the movies, it was only 92 degrees, and it felt nice. But dry, no humidity. Yeah, Tommy Morrison. Yeah, that's what Integrity says. Oh, Rocky 5 is Tommy Morrison. 3 is Mr. T. So what was 4? You said you liked 4. Or did you say you liked 4? Oh, you said Rambo 4. Oh. Rambo 4. What was Rambo 4? Was that the Afghanistan one or something? Or was Rambo 4, he was living in like Thailand or something? And then the missionaries, something about the missionaries and the river and the 50 cal. Am I getting that right? Am I piecing it together? Integrity 101 says, Rambo 2 was the #1 film of the year. He's kind of a superhero soldier in part 2. Yeah, he's Rambo. I personally like Rambo 4 the best because he took the best parts of 2 and 3 and made it more grounded in 4. Yeah, I think 4 was the one with the missionaries and the girl from Dexter was one of the missionaries. Josh says, I wonder what war movies will be made about current times. We took down Iran. We obliterated Iran. We obliterated their navy in one day. I don't know. They're going to be shitty. If they're based on Trump and Hegseth, they will be shitty war movies. Integrity 101, so I see Rambo 4 as a more realistic... Oh, yeah, I read that. Big Hook, Alien still holds up today. Oh, well, Aliens and Alien. Was the first one Alien? Or are you talking about the franchise? I like the Alien franchise. But the first one, when the monster came out of the guy's chest, I remember watching that movie, and that was like a jump. What do you call it? Jump scare or whatever. I actually jumped. I was like, oh shit. Integrity 104 says Rambo was the comeback film in 2008. Yes, you are correct. Yeah, okay. So yeah, it had the missionaries and the girl from Dexter. Big Hook. 1777 says Rambo was made here in British Columbia. Of course it was. I believe it was supposed to be Washington State. Was it not? But yeah, of course they filmed it up there. Eternity 101 says Alien 1979 horror, Aliens 1986 more action. Yeah, it was. That first one was a horror movie. For sure. A space horror movie. Anyhow, guys, it's almost 2:30 here in the Pacific time zone. For you guys on the East Coast, it's 5:25. Cock-a-doodle-doo! What time's the sun up out there? You guys are gonna be up with the roosters or whatever. But thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you guys. Like I said, I didn't think Supergirl, just to wrap things up, I didn't think Supergirl was all that bad. Not perfect by any means, and we've talked about the things that we didn't like and things we liked. I just don't think it was deserving of all the hate that it's gotten. If you like to go to movies and you're somewhat interested in Supergirl, I would suggest going and seeing it. If you're a moviegoer, if you're a person that just wants to watch things on streaming or on your TV, then I guess wait for it to go there. But if you like to go to movies, go ahead and see it before they pull it, because apparently it's not doing so well. But the Rotten Tomatoes score for fans was at 76%. The critics had it at 56%. I talked about this earlier, Integrity. I know you weren't here. Then that kind of pissed me off, because the disparity, like, at least according to Rotten Tomatoes, the regular non-critics seem to like it somewhat. It's 76%. It's not considered Rotten Tomato. It's considered I don't know if you call it a hit. I forget how the nomenclature, but it's doing well on Rotten Tomatoes with the normies, the normal movie-going people. The critics have it at, I think, 56%, and that's a Rotten Tomato. But I would recommend it. I would recommend it. And like I said, I don't think it deserves the hate. But that's just me, And Integrity, all right, we'll let you go. Joy to farm tutu says gone old, and Heg's breath think wars should go by the script that they write. Don't understand that it's not reality. Integrity says, I'll shut the fuck up. Nice to semi sort of meet you. Supergirl made me puke. All right. I know you didn't like it. I know. Integrity 101 says, critics are bought off. I don't care what they say ever. Maybe, I don't know. But like I said, I don't think I've ever seen it just across the board like that. Like, I think it almost seems like a conspiracy. Like someone did not want this movie to do well, and they paid off every critic to hate it or something. I don't know. Big MacGyver was also filmed in Vancouver. Integrity, have a good one. Thank you, Integrity. Thank you for being here. Thanks for subscribing. If you want to come back and check us out, we're Tuesdays, Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific time, and Saturdays at 11. And it's fun talking about movies. I like talking about movies. Maybe I should just do movies all the time. But, I guess that might get old too after a while. But I like movies. I'm a movie fan. I'm a fan of movies. I at one time thought I might be a movie maker, a filmmaker, and I did make my 8.5-minute film. And thanks, we even got some donos earlier from Sharky, Yippee, and Jossies. Thank you so much for that. And let me go back to all messages. And we got a couple people subscribe, and maybe we made some new friends. And maybe, like I said, we don't have to always agree. We don't have to agree on everything, but I try to make it civil. I know sometimes I've yelled at people and cussed at people, and then I always feel bad. So let's keep it civil. Let's not, yell and scream at each other and call each other names, but we can have definitely differences of opinion. Integrity 101, I'll be back to rip Supergirl some more. Take it easy. All right. Integrity. Josh C says Supergirl should get a Supra. Nice chatting. Yeah, it's been great chatting with you. I don't think I'm gonna do an outro. Usually I do little outro action. I think we're just gonna end it with no outro. I don't know. All right, guys. No, not even words of wisdom. I'll see you guys on Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. It was a good hang.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes. Might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes. But if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. All screwed up. Oh shit, I should've stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid. But doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no know it's time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep, broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food and movies and bugs, shining a light on all the social issues. No shrugs, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. For free. So you want to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love. It's all about the thrills, it's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret, it'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. It's so damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot, you're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. sad, and I don't cry. Sometimes I wonder why it takes so long for evil men to die. But I want you to know that when you go, you won't be missed. And the ground where you'll lay, we're all gonna take a big giant piss. And for your end, we all anticipate, without any love and too exhausted to hate. Your long-lasting legacy will be one of disgrace and shame. Throughout the annals of history, your name will shrink, you'll lose your fame. And as you lay there drawing in your final breath, just know that you made us happiest in death. You will not be thought of kindly, and you won't be missed. And like I said before, on the ground you'll lay, I'm gonna take a big old piss.
Show's over. I'm out of here, folks. Bye.